Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope that we always do. I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem, but we have some people here that's very, very, very important. And one is sitting to my right. She don't want to be on camera, but she's here. She's here. She's here, y'all. This is my baby girl. Mary, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Tired and sleepy. Tired and sleepy. Didn't get to sleep. Well, about 2:30 this morning. We went to bed. Yeah, about 2:30 this morning. So we tired and late. Got Captain Leonard here. He tired. He been to bed about 2:30 this morning too. Good morning, Captain Leonard. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
You're sleeping too there. You're sleeping too there, fella.
I can always go to sleep, Raheem. Good
Yes, sir.
morning, Mary.
Good morning.
We got Jason. We got Mr. Philadelphia. We have who else? We got there on this. We got Jimmy. We got Rico Reed. We got what's that? Miro. Good morning to each and every one of you. Glad you joined us this morning. Glad you joined us. We're gonna start this thing off, man, with the obvious topic: Father's Day. Father's Day. Yesterday was Father's Day, man. How many of y'all got some socks and gloves and neckties? What what'd you get, Leonard?
Oh, I had an excellent day yesterday.
What'd you do with yourself?
Oh, I did whatever I wanted to do. I just minded my own business.
There you go. There you go.
I had a good
and,
day.
and how to say and left everybody else's alone.
Yes.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Now this runoff, Leonard. When is it? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow is the 20. No, excuse me. What's the day? The day's the 20. Okay, yeah, the 21st.
The 21st
You
tomorrow.
need to go back to the polls and you need to vote.
Yep. Go back and push them buttons and make sure that you cast your vote. Flex your muscles.
That's
Flex.
right. It's very important. Very
Mhm.
important.
Yeah.
I guarantee you'll be complaining about things if you don't go back and vote.
Mm-hmm.
You will be complaining. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it is very important, man. Let your voice be heard. Let your voice be heard. Can't nobody tell you once you get in that little booth or once you get however they do it, once you get in there, you push your buttons, you push your buttons, or who you like, who you think will be best to move forward and
Right.
move
You
the
gotta.
communities forward.
That's right.
And
And not just that, but also you think of things like insurance prices
mm-hmm,
and things like that. These people run for office, and those are the people that are responsible for a lot of the bills that you pay
mm-hmm,
and things of that nature. So it would benefit you to get involved, so you at least know what is going on.
mm-hmm,
And there are
exactly.
certain people that don't care how much you have to pay for
Mm-hmm.
utilities and things like that. And
Well,
but you want to elect someone that does.
yeah, yeah. Because a lot of times when people make it X amount of money, they don't care what nobody else is making. They feel like everybody
No,
is making the same amount of money. And so, that's just what it is. I
remember
got
when you
paid.
you
Mhm.
put rich people in office, guess what? They don't usually are not really in touch with.
Yeah. Poor people problems. They don't know
Exactly,
they don't know nothing about poor people problems.
nothing.
That's a big part of the issue right there. That's a big part of the issue. They don't know about poor people problems. And
Nor
if
are they really a lot of them concerned.
yeah.
If they don't say they concerned, trust me, they are not.
Mm-hmm. So
That's why you can tell, man, with the bills and things like that that they propose.
so if
A
if
lot of
you
people.
if you're a part of poor people or people that's not as well off or whatever the case, you might want to cast a vote for somebody that has some concern and some care for poor people problems.
Exactly.
You might want to, if I was a multi-millionaire and lived that way and been that way all my life, it's hard for me connecting with people that's not multi-millionaires. I don't, if a person is poor, growing up in the ghetto, they may not know in the hood or whatever you want to call it, they may not know rich people problems.
Right. If they have not talked about them,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not concerned about them.
And so I'm not going to get here and say that rich people are wrong. They just not in touch with poor
Right.
people problems because they've never experienced poor people problems.
Right. And some people think that if you can't pay your bills, you're less than.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Remember,
Leonard, did we lose you there, Leonard?
no, you didn't. I was finished.
Okay, got you. Let me. Amir had a hand. Amir, what's on your heart?
Well, since Father's Day was yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
we can go ahead and talk about the next holiday.
Which is what?
Well, Daughter's Day is coming up,
I didn't see that.
September 25th.
I didn't see that on the calendar.
It's on there.
It is.
It's on there.
Okay. Let me give me a up to date calendar, because evidently the calendar I have didn't display Daughter Day. Charles, have you ever seen Daughter Day? Good morning, Charles. Have you ever seen Daughter Day on the calendar? Can't hear you, Charles.
Oh, to be honest, I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, here we
I haven't
go.
looked for it. I haven't looked for it either.
Now why would you not look for Daughter Day?
Because I got little sons. Now, if I had 4 daughters, I'd definitely be looking for it. So if you haven't seen it, then it's probably not there.
Charles, I knew I liked you, man. I knew you was okay with me. I knew I liked you.
I'm expecting.
Now, Mary, I'm not taking his side. I'm just saying he didn't look for it.
I'm expecting my socks on Daughter's Day.
I'm gonna buy
Sock?
you one. I'm gonna buy you one sock.
I got
Not
2
a
feet.
pair. Not a pair, but one.
I'm gonna buy you one sock. That's
The
what
left sock. The left sock.
exactly. I'm gonna let her. It might be a universal sock, but I'm gonna buy her one sock. That's what I'm gonna buy her. One. But it's gonna be a whole one though. It's gonna be a whole one. Ibrahim. Exactly. Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing well this morning. What you guys talking about?
Man, we just talking right now, brother. We ain't got to the topic. We just
Okay.
knocking off the dust, because I'm gonna tell you
Okay.
something. Because I'm tired. I'm tired as a hostage, brother. I ain't get to bed
Oh.
about 2:30 this morning, so I'm making my way through. Making
What
my
you
way.
doing the June? You doing a Juneteenth thing? I went to that Juneteenth over there in Centennial Park Sunday. Man,
Uh-huh.
it was off the chain. Bob Johnson done really stepped it up, man. It was thousands of people, and I
Really?
was in the yeah. It must have been about 10,000, something like that. Yeah,
Okay. That's a
yeah.
good deal.
So
Yeah. That's a good deal.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Now-
go ahead.
Now let me ask you this: have you ever heard of now Father's Day was yesterday?
Oh yes, sir.
My daughter told me that Daughter Day is in September. Now, have you ever heard of Daughter Day?
No, I never heard of that.
Okay. Hold on. Let's go. Leonard, have you ever heard of Daughter Day?
No.
What's your pin number?
Okay. Kurt, we got Kurt on line. Kurt, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what's up, bro? What's going on?
Hey, what's going on with you? Man, have you ever heard of Daughter Day?
Yes, I have.
See, they always got to be one in the bunch. See,
What is it? What is it?
There's always one in the bunch. See, Lord Jesus, we was on a roll.
September 25th.
I thought we had it already, tell you the truth. I didn't know it was a holiday.
Mm-hmm. It's every day.
I mean, everybody has a day.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know it, you know.
Mm-hmm. They got grandson day too.
Grandchildren day,
Yeah.
grandparents day, cat day, dog day,
Mm-hmm. Mule day.
you know, pigeon day.
Yeah, exactly.
You pick one.
Hassan Pfeffer day.
I've heard of Hassan Pfeffer day.
Yeah, Hassan Pfeffer day. That's big, man. That's a big day.
Yeah, anybody seen my
Charles a city boy, probably.
You
Yeah.
said what now? What day?
Hassan Pfeffer.
Possum Festival.
Hassan Pfeffer. Hassan Pfeffer.
What is that?
See,
You're
see,
you're a city boy.
That's something
See.
that's what's the name? It was made famous by Bugs Bunny.
Mhm.
Rabbit stew.
School.
Rabbit stew
Yeah,
day.
Okay, I like rabbit. I ate fried rabbit, but I didn't know they had a rabbit stew day that was made famous by Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. I didn't know that. What Curtis was saying that was
And the slogan was made famous by Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd.
Yeah,
Not
Hawthorne.
Yes.
Bud.
Hawthorne
Yosemite
pepper.
Sam.
Yeah, get some of that Hawthorne pepper. Hawthorne pepper.
How about Grits Festival Day?
I've heard of that because I like cooks, and
Mhm.
grits are a big deal for some
Yeah,
people.
down South Georgia, they have
Yes,
it every
indeed.
year. Mhm.
Grits is a big deal. Ain't that something?
It's so funny to me because I despise grits. So
Yeah. I'm
I
gonna
love
tell
it.
you
I
something.
love it.
My wife love grits, man, and I could tolerate grits. I'd rather have potatoes though, man. Give me some potatoes. Cook me some potatoes.
I'd rather have grits over oatmeal.
It depends on the day. See, oatmeal got some nutritional value to it. Grits, I don't think grits have any nutritional value at all. I don't think grits have
Come
any
on,
nutritional value.
man, that's the oldest dish among Afro Americans, man, and Native Americans or Native Indian. Grits has a lot of vitamins and substance. It's out of corn. All it is just corn maize. You know,
Mm.
yeah, that's all it is, corn maize. And
They say-
vitamin C, vitamin D. You know,
And grits.
yeah, grits.
Mm.
Especially with some butter in it, then you got some more vitamin D. Put some salt and pepper, you know what I mean?
man,
And
stop
put a
it.
little cream in it. You put some cream in it. You
Stop.
ball it in. You
Oh,
jaws it in.
A grit connoisseur.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever had grits
Oh,
and
yeah.
gravy?
Sound like bubble
Yeah.
gum.
Ooh.
But
Grits,
grits,
you know, I'm talking about rabbit. Yeah. How about grits and rabbit gravy?
Grits, stir grits.
Hold on.
Grits and rabbit gravy. I remember one time, man, my dad went and caught some rabbit, and we had some rabbit smothered in gravy, fried in smothered in gravy, and some grits with some cream in it, and an old tab of real butter.
Ain't going
Man,
down
look at
every
it.
lane.
I've had it with rice, but not with grits.
No. And when I eat grits, I'm gonna tell y'all how I ate my grits, and y'all might disown me for a minute. Hopefully y'all to come back. But I put butter, bless you, baby. I put butter and sugar or honey on my grits when I eat it.
Lots
That's
of
how I eat
people
mine.
do.
Yeah.
Lots of people do.
Yeah, give me some butter, melt that butter on there, give me some sugar or some honey, put it over top of
That's
this.
cream of wheat, man. That's cream of wheat.
You call it cream of wheat, I call it good. I call it good.
I can't take it with sugar, man. Honey. My
Man.
cousins like that up in Ohio.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
what
from
it
up
is.
north. That's why I knew about grits and sugar and stuff like that because people do it up north.
Now, I've always asked this question, and one of y'all be able to tell me, what is the difference between grits and what's that, farina or what is that?
It's a whole different grain.
Or it's different? I thought it was just
Yeah,
the
one's
same.
corn and hominy, the other one is wheat.
Yeah, wheat. One is wheat and one is corn.
So farina, is it good? I never had it.
I don't think it has no big different taste. I'm not a big oatmeal fan either, but oats and farina I think was a staple for some, but we didn't eat it a lot because I didn't care for it.
Okay.
We had
Good
cream
deal.
of wheat.
Maybe you had something you want to say?
Cream of wheat.
Now.
Yeah.
That's farina.
Yeah, farina is almost like grits, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know, I don't know the difference because
Except for it's wheat. It's like wheat. It's wheat. It's made with wheat instead.
Okay. Mary, what you wanted to say, baby? I got a question. And I'm gonna start this question off with Leonard. I'm gonna start this question off with you. And let me, before I do this, we got a lot of people that join in. We got Victor, we got Rodney Smith joined us. I can't see that name. Empress, I guess that's what that is. Please excuse me. Joseph joined us. We got a lot of people that's joining in. Definitely thank you. The phone lines are open 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Leonard, I'm not now I want you to listen to my question. I'm not asking you, do you want to be?
I ain't gonna listen to it.
Can you be? I know it, but it's just head just hard. But would you be able to, you being Leonard, who you are right now, could you survive back in the day as a slave?
I don't think I would want to.
No, see, I knew you just got to no. I said, could you? Not whether you wanted to or would you like to be could you being Leonard, could you survive back in the day as a slave?
No, I wouldn't.
Why?
Why would I want to be a slave?
No. No, that's not my question. I say, would you being who you are, would you be able to survive being a slave?
I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
because I would fight every day
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to get away.
And see, that's why I came with you first, because I knew you was gonna be that way, because that you being who you are. But my thing is, what kind of harm would you cause on everybody else if you did that?
I wouldn't care.
Wow.
I'm a survivor. If you
Mhm.
don't, that's your problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then Leonard, I guess we didn't intend to make you angry this morning, brother. We was doing so good a
But
minute ago.
it just doesn't. It doesn't. I should say I don't entertain that type of question,
Mm-hmm.
and because one, I was like, why would I want to? Why I
No.
don't have those imaginations sometimes, but I know I would probably be a lot like I am now because that's
Mhm.
all I know myself to be.
Do you think you really would, Leonard? Go back in those days. There's
I've
a lot
tried
of
to
people.
kill people simply from locking the door on me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no type of feelings for being a slave or existing in places I don't want to be.
Would your mentality? Do you think your mentality would be different in a different time?
No.
I-
Okay.
No.
Okay. Charles, what do you say to that? Oh, I'm sorry, Ibrahim. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Well, putting out everything out of context, right? It was brought up during Juneteenth. Some speaker was talking about that. In reality, prison is actual slavery, right? It's in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
13th, 14th Amendment.
Mhm.
Now people be able to survive in prison. Some of them die in prison, but I have
Mhm.
seen very few people that go in prison the first day and then kill themselves. Now it happens. It
But
happens,
in
but
prison, you wrong. In prison, usually you
no,
convicted
no, no, no,
criminal.
no, 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 no. Forget about that. You're still a human being. You're still a mind, right? And I don't care if you're right or you're wrong. When you go to prison, right? It is what it is. It's slavery. You know what I mean? Now, if you wanna, I don't know how you can classify that. Uh, but that's prison.
Mhm.
And the whole thing about it is it's a whole new mindset. You get into a society. See, when we think about slavery, we don't think about people had a life or society cut out a life for themselves or a space for themselves. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So prison, it can be a thing of mind. It can be it's an actual thing, and it can be a thing of mind. You know what I mean? You talk to a lot of long-term lifers. How do you survive that? How do you survive the blood and the carnage? How did you survive the degradation? And being put in a particular thing, or forced to do things that you didn't want to do because that's the way it's supposed to happen.
Mhm.
The
Well,
guard
see,
ain't no different than okay, go ahead.
no, my thing is this right here, and truth of the matter, because I talked to my wife and my daughter about this yesterday. Truth, I say that to Leonard, but I feel what he's saying, because I would just the idea, and I'm the question asker, so I asked the question, but the idea of being that and having to endure those situations, I feel like I like to feel as though I would be like a Nat Turner, one that rebelled and fought against it, because that whole idea of being a slave, why would I want to be a slave? But like I say, this is I think it's a great conversation that we're going to have around this. But I feel, Leonard, where he's coming from. I have to deal with both sides of the coin, but I definitely feel where he's coming from. I would that mentality or that idea of being a slave, man, I wouldn't want to deal with that. And the truth of the matter, they'll probably kill me, or I kill a lot of them on the way. But so I can understand what he's saying. Charles, what's on your heart, brother? Could you survive? Not do you want to be? Not do you have you ever decided to be? Could you survive as a slave?
Probably, I'll probably get killed quick
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a real defiant person when it comes to like going against the people who are being that way at me. And I've never been a slave before, but I have been in prison. But I don't think it's the same.
No.
Mm-hmm.
How did you survive in prison?
Hold on.
Because I knew I was getting out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew I was getting out. You know, but that was me. You got to understand. Like your question says,
hold on,
like
Ibrahim, hold on, brother. Let him finish.
Like your question says, Raheem, the mindset of me. just like what Leonard was saying, him, like you yourself, Raheem.
Yeah.
Me as me right now, being put in the slave thing, knowing that it's slavery, and I know that's what it is, it would be a Nat Turner thing going on. That's like being a captured, because I guess a captured POW or something like that. Those guys, every day, they try to escape. You understand? Prison is a punishment of you doing something wrong.
Exactly.
And if you're a man, you accept your punishment because if you did do it and you know it's wrong, then you accept that. That's way different than, I would think, slavery. Now, the jobs that you do might be slavish, but ain't nobody cracking no whip on your back either. In prison, you got rules and regulations in prison. Ain't nobody cracking no whip on your back.
And I don't mean to jump in on your job, but that's what I was gonna ask right there, because a lot of times we say that, but we don't understand what they had to go through and what they had to endure back in those times with the whips and the pulling the bodies apart and all the vicious and heartless things that one human being would do to another human being. We didn't endure that, and so we say that we wouldn't. But what was it that kept the ones that were in that situation?
It had the same difference of what is it when people get caught as POWs and they don't try to escape, and some of them tell and some of them run. You understand? A lot of them run and try to. Your job is to always try to escape.
Yeah.
That's your job. That's what you told. Always try to escape. Make sure your man is okay. But as you got to think in a slave mentality. But the same thing, I'm agreeing with you. We don't know what they endured. We can only read about it and look at films of, if we find films of people been through it, but we don't know right now what they're going through. Now it went through. Now it is slaves right now, or people who escaped slavery right now, that we can ask about that. But as for me, I think that my mentality, the Charles Patrick mentality, is the one that, hey, we all gonna die.
And see, and that's a big. That's what I say a big part of. Hold on. That's what I say a big part of it, because there was and I hate to say it this way, Lord, I know, but there was a culture during that time where, you know, if one person act up, it could affect everybody. And if you got Charles acting this way, you got Leonard acting this way, then here come Raheem acting this way. Now everybody's gonna be punished.
We in trouble.
Yeah, everybody's in trouble.
Y'all in trouble.
Everybody's gonna be.
But you don't have to be in slavery to be under that type of discipline either. No,
not at all. Let me go to the phone. Got quite a few people on the phone. I don't want to touch them as well. Let me see. The first one up on the line was Monique. Monique, I think she's been here the long. No, I'm sorry. It was Curtis, but I think we spoke to Curtis already. Monique, what's on your heart? Could you survive as a slave?
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I think for me, with the mindset that I have today, and even with me reading, you know, a little bit of the history, you know, from actual slaves, I probably will be one of those ones that will always be plotting and planning and trying to figure out a way to leave. You know, trying to escape. You know, based on the mindset that I have. But I believe that with slavery, you know, you got different aspects of it. You got the people that, you know, that came off of the ships, and then you have the people that were born, you know, on this soil. So I believe that they had to, you know, train these people, you know, the slaves that this is how it's supposed to be. So I think that's what I believe that's what kept it between religion and training them to think a certain way is what kept us in bondage for so long. So train them to believe that this is how it's supposed to be. And only, you know, and a few realize that's not what we, you know, this is not how we're supposed to live. I think it has something to do with the fact that a lot of us were born over here on this soil versus the ones that, you know, actually got off the ship and, you know, say, hey, this is not right.
That's good. That's good. Mary, what do you say to that? Could you live as a slave? can't go. I can't go to her on this particular question. Let me go back to the phone lines. We got a few people here.
What's she gonna say? Yeah, Daddy, you slaved me.
There you go. Tucson, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm all right.
Tucson, not asking the question, do you want to be or do you have any desire? None of that. I'm asking you being who you are, and knowing what they had to endure during that time. Could you survive as a slave?
I probably could, but I'd be trying to kill the masses.
Mm-hmm.
His wife, his children.
Good Lord.
I'll be trying to kill the ones that he didn't train to beat me down. I'll be trying to figure out how to kill all of them, every one of them.
But Tucson, let me ask you.
See, now, escaping. Go ahead.
Let me ask this, because I'm hearing that a lot, but and there were some people that really felt that way and did those things, but why wasn't it the norm? Because you got some that just conformed. They did what they had to do every day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So if you're not asset to the cause, you're useless too. Sorry. You look like me, but you're worthless. I'm just sorry. I'm not. You're not worthless. The mind, you done conform to the point where you part of the problem that got us in bondage. Because okay, I heard something, and I'm gonna go ahead and address it. The manipulation of religion, to make because you can make the Bible say whatever you want to. I'm talking about you can make it believable if you put it any way you want to, but originally that's not what it says.
Okay.
So people have a tendency to say, well, it's the white man's religion. No, it ain't. White man ain't got no religion. What religion he got? What God he got? That's a mindset that we use to make a point. And I say this all the time. If we can't prove our point, we try to discredit somebody else's point. But I just me. We have survived so much as a people. So surviving is really not difficult. It is difficult, but it can be done. Because we're surviving now in a land that's not ours. We learn how to maneuver through all kinds of adversities. So surviving not the problem. But how do we get out of it without them chasing after us? Tell them, I'm saying,
Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, I'm not asking the question, do you have any desire? Do you want to be, or any of that? I'm asking the question, you being who you are in this day and time, and knowing that the horrible situations that one human being put on another human being, could you survive as a slave?
No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't. It just because of who I am. First, they cut off my toes, my feet. They cut off the other leg. I'd be trying to crawl away. It don't matter. They might as well just go ahead and kill me because it would not work for me. And we're talking about it, in that type of context. But I did the Nat Turner movie. I did Underground movie, right, where I played slaves. And so research. They always encourage you to do research. Man, if we had any inkling of what a slave went through on a daily, I don't think any of us would survive. I'll be totally honest. I just, and especially the Nat Turner story, that what he did, and they used the religion, and then God spoke to him. he said God prophetically spoke to him and told him what to do. Man, that story is so powerful. But no, I couldn't survive. I wouldn't make it. I just wouldn't.
Now, Cassandra, we say this, and all of us have said pretty much some along those lines. One or two said yes, they could, but they say that each generation will be wiser but weaker. Are we in this generation? Are we strong enough, Cassandra, to survive?
No. Let me tell you, Raheem. Of course, when you're filming a slave story, historical slave story, you're actually in fields, in cotton fields, in whatever kind of field, sugar cane fields, and you're looking down. Look like miles of nothing but cotton, miles of nothing but sugar cane or whatever it is that they have you picking at the time. Raheem, let me tell you something. We're actors, and they were, of course, trying to protect us. Man, that thing almost killed. I mean, it feels like you about to die. You're talking about from sun up to sundown. You're going from row to row in 90 to 100-degree weather.
Wow.
I mean, I got bites from the chiggers. Those chiggers, those bugs that be in the cotton and stuff.
Yeah.
I had knots on my leg. Everybody had knots and bruises all over them. But we did it for the historical content. Man, most of us could not have done that on a daily. We're not strong enough, I believe, these days to do what our ancestors did. I believe it with all my heart. We could not do it.
Absolutely. And see, and that's my thing, and that's the point of this. Are we strong enough? And like I said earlier, it does say that each generation will get wiser but weaker. Curtis, what do you say to that, man? With that being said, with that mindset, could we make it? Are we strong enough, Curtis? Do we have that in us?
You mean the present day Negro?
Yes.
Man, the present day Negro. Man, the present day Negro, they'd have to blow up the whole town. We'd have a Rosewood all over again. We'd have a Black Wall Street all over again. The present day Negro ain't gonna take that. Me personally, there's no way in the world I could have been a slave. Not endure that. You gonna make me watch?
But see, my question is, how would it be different though? Because you've been thrusted not in this time, but you've been thrusted back in those days. What are you going to do?
I tell you what, whatever I do, everybody on the plantation, everybody around that plantation gonna know. Oh yeah, they gonna know. Oh yeah, they gonna know. That's gonna be national news. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hell to the no.
Wow. See, and my whole question. Yeah, and that's a part of the issue. But my whole question is, with all the inhumane things that was done upon us as a people, and people seeing that, I think that's what. And Lynn, I'm gonna go to you with this, man. What are we gonna do? The guns and all the stuff that we have now, we won't have those guns. We have to go back there in those times and deal with those situations and those conditions. Are we clouding the reality of what was going on during that time?
Yes.
Saying that we'll do this and we'll do that. What do you say? What do you say, Leonard?
The issue I've always had, and this is why I have a problem with Black people who sensationalize and romanticize slavery and use it out of context and out of place. That's why it bothers me so much, because you're not that person.
Yeah.
You're not. I think Miss Monique, I believe, hit on it earlier. You're the descendant of a slave. You are not that African that was taken. Whole different concept. That African had no idea where he or she was at.
Yeah.
They had no idea what was to happen to them. Everything with this like this was new to many of them. So you can't even, You can, like Miss Cassandra was just detailing to you. She was just talking about the work they had to do.
Exactly.
You know, she wasn't talking about their culture was being destroyed. You got to remember, they were from everywhere. So they may have been laying next to one another or on the same plantation. They may not have been from the same tribe or the same place. So you would have to do a lot of research and study to really understand the true condition that they were going. Listen to them. Go to the archives in the Library of Congress and listen to the stories of some of those individuals that were recorded that were actually slaves.
Yeah.
And listen to their story. Don't make it up. Go research it. It is so disrespectful to me for any black person to try to put that garment on and pretend that you a slave and walk around here talking about you enslaved. That's so disrespectful.
And my thing is, and where I was going with this whole situation, we got another caller. We're going to go to the call in just 1 second. And the phone lines are open 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. My whole issue is to say that, you know, I couldn't do that, I would do this, I would do that. Man, there was a lot of people, man, that was back there during that time that probably had a desire to, that probably wanted to, but it wasn't carried out because they knew the condition that they was in. And what if you do that, what are you gonna do for everybody involved?
A lot of it also, Raheem, is you have to realize many of these slaves you will never hear about.
Yes.
Because they were killed for this.
Exactly.
They didn't get a chance to write their stories or anything like that. So you're not going to hear the stories of all of the slaves that fought. Well, even some of them didn't even make it all the way across the water because of the fight.
Yeah.
And those who attempted to take over the plantations, you're not going to hear very many of those stories.
Because they don't want it to come out.
Well, no, because who was supposed to write it? Who was supposed to write it? You know what I'm saying? And some of the slave stories that did make it were written by other people, other people who were not slaves, but they listened into the stories of slaves that they were interested in writing. Some of the children talked about the slaves that they were raised with. So some of them wrote a lot of stories about the conditions, but the slaves themselves, very few stories survive.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's so many different layers to this whole situation, man, that a lot of times, you know, we don't take the time to pay attention to. We have another caller. I think it's Toya with a T. Toya with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning? Toya? I thought we had Toya there. Toya, you there? Okay. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning? Rico, you there? They may be having some issues with their line. Ibrahim, you wanted to say something, brother. What's on your heart?
Yeah, okay. You guys still got me muted?
No. We can hear you, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. You know what makes me so angry? The pomposity of everybody say who they would and what they wouldn't do. You know, I tried to get some reality out of Charles, right? Because any sentence in a prison is a death sentence because you never know how long you're going to live in prison. You know, life expectancy can be short as a minute and as long as a lifetime. But anyway, getting back to that, I was raised up. I know what it is to be on a farm and tobacco fields as long as the eye can see. And some guy in a tall white suit and a white hat in the middle of the day and working up sundown on the field for $5 a day or less, right? And I know how people lived or survived off that. But y'all talking like people were just like, I mean, you see these movies. I was raised up during a time where people were still alive that had been enslaved. My granddad was born in 1858, and there were people over 110 years old, you know what I mean, that were born in slavery. You know, and you got history of a lot of people born in slavery. A.D. Williams, Martin Luther King grandfather on the mother's side. I go one of the richest guy in Atlanta, Alonzo Herndon, born in slavery, worked as sharecroppers. You know, so I think it's disingenuous to think that y'all wouldn't do something when y'all doing it right now. And just like a lot of guys in the 60s and 70s would say, the worst Uncle Tom they ever seen today is right now, because y'all compliant. Y'all talk about law like it can't be changed, like it's instant stone. Y'all talk about religion, that God laid this down and ain't nothing gonna change. Y'all don't have no desire to be yourself or to have independence. You talk about freedom and independence like it was given to you. We were emancipated.
Let me step in for a second. Ibrahim,
you let me answer.
Hold on. Let me step in for a minute. I'm gonna ask you a question. When you say y'all, which y'all are you speaking of?
Well, I'm talking about these generations that say they wouldn't do this, they wouldn't do that. They'd rather die, they kill somebody. You ain't doing it now. You ain't doing it now.
Yes, they are.
You're not doing it now. You're not doing it now. You're not doing it now, right? You're sitting back taking it, right? You tell me how laws. I hear people talking about laws.
My thing. Let me step in, brother. My thing is your comment is painted with such a wide brush, brother. You putting everybody in that stroke, and not everybody's there, man. Not everybody's gonna roll over and die like
the majority will. The majority doing it now. Why you won't roll over? You act like
what?
Explain to me how. Explain.
Roll over, and be submissive like you are now. You're submissive.
Ibrahim.
I'm just taking. Okay.
Ibrahim. Okay. Let me have the show back, brother. Let me have the show back.
Okay. One thing. I'm generalizing. But everybody else is generalizing.
Ibrahim, you're still talking, brother. Hold on.
Go ahead. I give up. I'm back out.
No. I don't want you to give up. I want to ask you a question, and then I want you to respond to the question.
Go ahead.
Why do you think majority of the people are doing like you say they're doing? Just laying over and rolling over and dying. Why do you think that? Give me some examples.
The behavior is what you see. You can hear people talk, but you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. From my estimation, and what we did live and what we rebelled against is not being rebelled against now. Everybody's saying how good it is. I'm free and this like another. That's a bunch of crap, because freedom, independence, freedom is responsibility, independence is responsibility itself. We as a people in this country are not independent.
What is your end term goal, Ibrahim? If it could go the way Ibrahim wanted to go, what is your end term goal?
To be independent and self-reliant, so we can make our own decisions, set the table of mankind. If we choose a war, to be war. If we choose not to have a war, be war. If we choose to be inoculated or to fight virus or diseases, right? Or we choose to work the way we want to work, right? Or we choose to get some benefit out of this substance. Look at Marcus Garvey said about the Panama Canal being built. He said these men will never benefit out their labor, and the wages were substandard. They were thrown out and cast away. So, look at the reality of the day and actual history. Y'all want to see the most horrible part of slavery and not see that people survive, people live. People had communities within these communities. That's why we still a separate community doing segregation. We were community within community. We had segregation. We weren't allowed to do this, have that, eat this. But in reality, though, we still had lives. We still had communities. We still did things in our communities. We still made our own decisions. Now you don't make your own decision. Somebody tell you what's right and wrong. Somebody going to tell you, I'm going to pass the law.
Hold on. Let me do this. Let me do this because I have to bring some more people into the conversation. You got a few people with their hands up. But my thing is this right here. It's almost like I'm hearing you. You correct me if wrong, and I come back to you so to move on. It's almost like you're saying that you want to live in this victorious situation, but you're doing it from a defeatist mindset, and I'm getting mixed messages as to what you're saying to me. Charles, you had your hand up, brother.
Yeah, I was getting mixed messages also, but I believe because he said inoculation and stuff like that. The people who said that they're going to fight, or they would fight, and I'm not putting words in Ibrahim's mouth because we ain't going to do that. But anyway, he got enough words already. But anyway, if like for instance, the vaccine, and I'm not jumping on the vaccine. I'm just saying the slavery part. People didn't question it. So I'm assuming, because he went a lot of different ways, that Ibrahim saying that people are going to do what they're told, and they're doing it right now without questioning it. So the people who have the mentality of saying they're not going to do it are still doing it. But if he's saying that, I'm saying that people are fighting back. against stuff like that. People are fighting back about against because your question was like the mentality that we have right now.
Yes.
I know that I have the mentality to fight people that I don't agree with. So people are doing that. So I wouldn't say it could be the majority of people that are not doing it. I don't know, but I know that people are fighting. People are fighting. Wait, I don't know if they're fighting more than the slaves did, because like Leonard was saying, only way we know is to go back to archives and look at videos and let people tell us what the truth of it is. But your question was the mentality that Charles Patrick has, the mentality that Leonard has, the mentality that Ibrahim has, the mentality that we have right now. Could that person be a slave? This Charles, I don't know about my ancestor Charles, but this Charles, knowing what I know, couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a total difference between that and prison.
Mm-hmm.
Because prison was my punishment for what I did, even though what I did I would do again. It's my punishment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Leonard, I saw your hand, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, I'm just listening because I try to respect my elders, but I'm not going to listen to that because that is completely his point of view.
That's all it is.
I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Because I have no idea what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do whatever I want to do. And I'm on record for what happens when I don't get to do what I want to do. So explain to me again about what somebody else ain't doing. I know people that'll kill you for stepping on their freaking shoes. Don't mention to me about what we ain't. Because that's in your mind. You don't put that on other people. You don't it's almost as if you just looked at us like we wasn't nothing. Like we have nothing, like we're not men. Most of the people I know do what they want to do. My grandfather wasn't a slave. He didn't even mention it. So if he wasn't a slave, why would I be the slave-minded individual? See, it's a difference between knowing the history and the culture and then being slave-minded. Them people didn't have to imagine they were slaves. They were slaves, thrust into a situation in which they had no control whatsoever. And some of them still fought for their freedom. So we're not going to sit here and castigate young people right now that are doing so much, so more, so far ahead. I get so sick of hearing about Black Wall Street when there's thousands and thousands of black businesses today. But you in love with them 10 or 15 or whatever was in Oklahoma, but you cast this shadow on those folks that have excelled now just to hang on to your story of submission. What do you want to do? Why would, if you got a job, why would you go in there with an attitude like you doing something for somebody else? You at work to make money for you. So this notion that, even people that everything to them is slavery. It's we slaves. I don't know no rich slaves. I don't know no slaves that made their own decisions. I'm trying to figure out what history y'all been reading.
Mm-hmm. Let me keep this thing going, man. The phone lines are open. I knew it was gonna be something. I knew it was gonna be something today, man. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to have your input. We love to hear from you. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Curtis, are you there?
Yeah, I had to hit the mute button. I really don't know what to say about the conversation outside of the fact that I have grown extremely tired of
Say it, Kurt.
I have grown tired of the self-hate.
Thank you.
because to sit here on a radio station where we are heard
Boy.
in 58 to 68 other countries and hear us demoralize what a younger generation and us have done, but all at the same time, we can go to work every day and not be mandated to work for free. Says that the younger generation, they might not have did it all, but they're doing something. To look at the TV and see these marches and see these riots that are perpetuated by those who are supposed to protect us, and see the masses and see that, hey, it's a whole bunch of young folk. People like Cassandra is there telling the younger folk, okay, now hold on, y'all. Don't burn down that grocery store. We might have to use that one now.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all leave that grocery store alone now. That owner right there, you know, he one of us. Don't burn that one down. Man, I watched what's the name last night, man. Who We Are. And I implore not only us and our generation, but the younger generation and those elderly, those who are considered our elders, to watch Who We Are so that we can find out some things. You all said something earlier about the slavery that existed. I believe it was the young lady said something about we have to account for the slavery that existed once we got here. 1808 is when they actually stopped sending ships from America to Africa to get folk. But that's also the same time that they started breeding. If you look at the Constitution, you'll see how things line up. That's why I'm telling everybody why. I'm giving a plug. Who we are. Because what I just heard was self-hatred and a level of ignorance that honestly should not be tolerated.
Okay.
These young folk is doing what they're supposed to do, Raheem, and we can't keep taking stuff from them by constantly talking about what they ain't doing. Because the same elderly whom we are now was doing the same thing to Dr. King and them. There was preachers that could not stand Dr. King. There was black preachers that were saying he's a rebel rouser, he's a thug. Dr. King was arrested 30 times in the length of, I think, 12 months. He was locked up 30 times. People need to stop with with the foolishness. Dr. King has one saying. I've been playing this man for the last 8 years. Man, I gotta pull my call over. I've been playing this man for the last 8 years. There's one quote that King has that will forever stick out my mind. I don't care if I get Alzheimer's to the 10th power. Dr. King says, my brothers and sisters, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but we will remember the silence of our friends.
Wow.
If you're being silent, you're being implicit.
Exactly.
If you're being implicit, then that means that you're going with it. You're nothing but a Stephen. And I'm not saying that specifically to nobody, but I'm saying if you're being silent, if you're demoralizing the accomplishments and the push that has come behind
Wrap it up, Curtis.
the road for which you have laid out, you're being a Stephen.
Let's keep this thing going, man. The phone lines are open. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Toya with a T, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Toya with you wide open. I'm gonna ask you the question. And not certainly not do you want to be, do you have any desires to be? That's not my question. You being who you are, knowing the terrible situations and conditions that our ancestors had to go through as slaves, and the way that other individuals treated us as slaves. Could you survive as a slave, Toya?
No, I would have got all of us in trouble. As soon as Master would talk about what he wanted to do back there in that room, them balls would have been gone. You heard me? And when I got done with them, I kill all them brown folks. Get rid of them all.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd had us all in trouble if I was born back then. I've always had kind of a.
But let me ask you this question, Toya, and I understand what you're saying, and that's me and Lena had a conversation based on this, and I say I do agree with what he's saying. I feel that way, but at the same time, I have to look at both sides of the coin. If you were in that day and time with the conditions as they were and how they treated us during that day and time, how would you survive? Yeah, I did.
Listen. I was born in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
In 1991, they had fields willingly. You understand what I'm saying? So with my spirit, how it is now, that's why God had me born in 1977 and not in 1877, because my spirit is still the same. Even now, in the conditions we have, okay, we're not forced, but there are still injustices that happen to us all the time. And when I'm at work or at school, if there's something that's not right, I'm going to be the person to stand up. So whether it's worse conditions or not, I look for situations like that. I look for situations. I like bullies. I like people who do things. If it just don't feel right to me, I'm going to stand up for it. So absolutely, back then, I would have been Harriet Tubman part 2 with this same spirit. I just can't imagine. And again, I believe that's why I was born when I was, because God knows my spirit. He knew I wouldn't have made it back then. I've always been kind of again, like I said, my spirit has always been kind of one. To where you got some rules and it ain't right. I'm now, I don't know now, that ain't right. And I'm going to be the one to stand up. I had somebody at my job one time, working at a location. And the man told me, he said, Toya, you know what? When you talk, people listen. So if you got an issue, you need to just come talk to me. But what you're doing is wrong. So no, I'm screaming at the rooftops. You understand what I'm saying? So then, the same and now, they still got issues. We just released slavery in Mississippi in 2013 or something like that. Literally off the books. And there are still injustices. So yes, I absolutely do feel like that I would have been the same person, and I would have us in a heap of trouble. Just like today, if there's an injustice, I'm standing up for it.
Did you say a heap of trouble? A heap of trouble.
2 scoops full of trouble fooling with me if I was back then.
Lord. Hicks, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. Doing fine, and you?
Hey, doing well. Hicks, I know you've been listening. I wanted you to listen in for a few minutes, man, and get the tone of the conversation.
Yes,
but now that you've got the tone of it, man, could you survive? Could you survive as a slave?
Yeah. I mean, I survived as a slave in this life. You know, it wasn't chattel slavery, but it was psychological and emotional slavery. I guess the point that I think about the conversation that oftentimes the whole concept of free speech is that for someone to speak freely what they believe and what they think, and for that thought to be by consensus of the people around them to figure out if what you're saying is logical or not. That's sort of like a checkmate. But I think it's important to hear people's point of view, even though it goes against the grain. My understanding of slavery has been growing over the years. No, not the Kunta Kinte thing that was created. They even said it was created to give us some kind of culture where it wasn't true. There are a whole lot of researchers and a whole lot of people that believe that the way slavery was defined was defined different than we see it. For example, one point that before slaves were deemed to be free, the lynchings that went on was really white people lynching other white people over disputes, because the slave was a piece of property. It's like having a house or a car.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't want to lose that, so the emphasis on other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm enjoying the conversation. I'll be listening.
Okay, good deal. You know, hey, don't get too comfortable. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call back on you in a minute. Now, be ready. I'm calling back on you.
Ready. I'm here.
Absolutely, Mary. Let me ask you a question, Mary.
Yeah.
No, talk to Mary.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, everybody, mute your line. I got a background conversation going on. Mute your line, everybody. Mute your line. Mary, do you think the times has changed to a point that most people are in this generation are weaker to the point where they would not be able to survive or endure the things that was going on back then? You can't speak on that? Okay. Tell me what's on your heart there, Mary. Tell me what's on your heart. I'm trying to pull you into the conversation. What's on your heart?
Well, I'll tell you what's on my heart. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I need you to click right yonder. I can tell you what's on my heart right now. If you want to support the broadcast,
This my total boy.
you can go to PayPal or Cash App, and you can type in DKMRADIO. That's what's on my heart.
Wow, Cassandra. They go Toya co-sign. You boy, I tell you,
Thank you, Mary.
I don't know what you and Toya got going
You're
on.
welcome.
Well, y'all got something going on. I don't know what it is, but y'all got something going on. Cassandra, what's on your heart, Cassandra? Because a lot has been said, and there's been a lot of people expressing themselves. Some we agree with, and some we certainly don't. But Cassandra, what's on your heart?
You know, for those that feel like they with their mentality right now, with where they are right now, that they could survive slavery, that sort of I'm trying to figure that out, because most people today have no concept of what it was like to be a slave, and you know, the regiment that they had to follow, and you know, not having enough food a lot of the times. And and I've only done it through acting, but I'm telling you, just doing it acting, it's no way most of us would make it. I'm telling you, you can say, oh yeah, I'll find a way, I'll survive. Most of us, because of our mindset today, there is no way you would be able to survive that heat, that intense beating, and seeing people burn to death, seeing people, no, you could not. I mean, I understand you saying, oh, I'll find a way to survive, but not with the mentality that most of us are the way that we're used to living today, right now. There is no way most people, I'm telling you, would be able to survive being a slave. I applaud you for saying you can, but I doubt it. I've done it for, you know, weeks at a time, you know, doing a movie, and it is like, you come away like, what the hell? How did they do that?
It's a lot, man, and Cassandra, that's what I was saying too, because you know, and I've said it three or four times already. Each generation is wiser but weaker, and if that be the case, weaker, yes. Cassandra,
yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. They are wiser, but they're weaker. Man, I'm telling y'all, when you hear, just to hear, and these people are actors, just to hear the guys that were over us saying, nigga, you know, get back to work, and hitting you with whips, or somebody passing out on the field and they leaving them. What the heck? I mean, it will blow your mind. And I'm talking, these are historical accounts. That's why when I did the Nat Turner story, oh my, I cried. I mean, many of us, we cried almost every day on set. Just to see how Nat Turner, you know what I'm saying, how he allowed God to flip that thing and tell him, this is not what I want for you. Y'all need to be free, and this is how you're going to do it. And he died, you know what I'm saying? He was willing to die for the freedom of his people.
Yeah.
I mean, we have no clue.
Exactly. Monique, what's on your heart, sis? Monique?
Nothing right now. I'm just listening. Just
Okay.
listening right now.
Okay. Good deal. Let me go with K with an E. K with an E, good morning. How you doing this morning? Okay, the mute button right there. There's a mute button, K. It's right there. K, you see it? K, don't see the mute button. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. Welcome to a new day, everybody.
Hey, welcome to you as well, sir. Welcome to you as well. We asking a question, Rico, and certainly not. Do you want? How you been listening this morning?
A little bit. I heard a little bit.
Okay, certainly not. Do you want to be, or do you have any desires to be? My question is, would you be able to survive back in those days, thrusted back in those days when all the atrocities were going on? Would you be able to survive as a slave?
I would have been able to survive the labor. 9 times out of 10, I would have been prepared at a young age to be able to survive.
Mm-hmm.
The labor and the sharecropping.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of reminds me of an incident about 3 weeks ago. The city councilman wanted to start a garden, community garden. And she got these volunteers to come out, her and her little brother and his friends. And man, after 4 hours, she regretted it. So I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how people did it in the past, and I just laughed. I was like, man, that's like a normal activity when I was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I got out there with my granddaddy and sat out on the porch, and you know what I'm saying, we separated the vegetables and picked them and did all of these things. It was, you know, it was a necessity. Back then, during slavery, it was forced,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still done, and people survived it. So I would have been able to survive the labor. Now, the mistreatment and the bias, the abuse, I probably wouldn't have survived that.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing about it is I've been in enough trouble and put my foot down and couldn't take certain things today that I knew back then I wouldn't have been able to take it. See, I probably would have been programmed and conditioned to accept that type of work,
Mm-hmm.
to accept that type of servitude. But my conscious mind will be saying to myself, wait a minute, they just like I am. Why they got more rights? Why they got favor? So I still would have been the one with the big mouth,
Mm-hmm.
the one that talk too much, the one that think too much. You too smart for your own good. I would have been the one trying to figure out how to get into rebellions going,
Mm-hmm.
how to stop this mistreatment, even though I probably would have been conditioned to accept the slave labor.
Wow.
I probably would have been conditioned to think that, okay, that's just the way it is nowadays. So, you know, or that's the way it's supposed to be. But I still wouldn't have been able to stand for the mistreatment, the murder and the rape, all the savagery that went on. So, yeah, I think I would have been able to survive the labor. But I probably would have had a Nat Turner's existence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
What's on your heart, brother?
Oh, I'm just sitting here going through scenarios in my head of how many muskets I could have owned and took out without getting caught.
Wow.
Oh, that's the only thing that stops me today.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing I know I'd get caught in today's society.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's definitely.
You even told me it was sensitive before I got on here, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I am already upset.
Mm-hmm.
So, say the question again to make sure I heard it right.
Asking, would you be able to survive as a slave?
Labor, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd probably be killed after day one.
Wow. But see, but that's the thing right there. That's the thing that I'm gonna go to Tucson with this as well.
That's if I still have the mentality that I have today.
That's my whole point. You know, because this day and time is certainly different from that day and time. You know, that everything was different. Everything was different. So would you have the same mentality growing up in that era as you did today? And I say no. I don't think so.
No. I think we would be in trauma brain and would be going with the flow unless something got through to us.
Mm-hmm.
to break that trauma.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Tucson, what's on your heart?
So,
oh Lord,
we may as well dig a mass grave and all just walk on in it. And let those that are in authority just bury us alive. If we got the mentality that we can't make it or we shouldn't make it, then we might as well die. We're no good. I'm just saying. I'm speaking. I'm saying it on behalf of a friend.
Tell your friend. Tell your friend to call in, because I got some questions for him or her.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying right here. Okay. If you're willing to settle, I'm not settled. I'm always trying to figure it out, how to overcome even the situation I am. I'm not complying just because I'm dealing with it. That's not in my mindset. You think I agree with this government that we live in and the society and the mistreatment? They can treat other folks a certain kind of way, but they ain't no. I don't care who I might even be employed by, but you ain't gonna treat me or talk to me crazy at all. Period. I'm just saying. If we're saying that, okay, we're not going to be able to do that, then dig a grave for you and your kin folks and put and walk in. You don't even have to be dead.
Just jump on in there.
Just step on in there and let the ones that you see that are powerful. That's why we still like we are. That's why we still. That's the thing that I'm saying. See, there are people that and I'm trying to close my time in right here. There are people that they remember when, well, no, I can't say they wasn't abused in a sense like the field slaves. They was in the house smiling and grinning. So it's just me thinking.
Talking about the house Negro.
See, it's just me thinking that I be trying to catch you in the woods too. I mean, I'm just saying.
So you gonna kill?
I know somebody.
You gonna kill the house Negro?
And I don't mean no disrespect. Disrespect to my brother because I understand his point. But what are you gonna do? I'm not trying to overthrow the government, but I'm not settling for it. I'm doing my own thing. Every morning I decide, not because of force, not because of yielding, because of choice, mine. I'm gonna say this, and I'll say this to my dad. I don't know where in the world, why did he get us to work in them fields when we were coming up? What are we doing, Dad? Fields and yards and miles of beans and corn and this and that and the other. As a little boy, all day long, we did it. I don't know about nobody else, but we did it. And here I am. It didn't kill me, but it taught me at least how to work, so I won't be walking around waiting for somebody else to give me something. Put my time up.
Good deal. Toy, what's on your heart, sis?
You know, a couple of things. What exactly is wrong with we? You know, it's like this thing that people do, but it ain't you. Do your thing. And like I take ownership of my people. You ain't gonna talk about one. I don't care what they did. Ain't no we. What is we like? You know what I'm saying? That kind of does something to me when I see me. Cause that what the problem is. The house Negro. We're not going to talk about the terms and conditions that have helped influence some of the choices and decisions that we make, but furthermore, the spirit of who you are, whether it was 1,000 years ago or 1,000 years ahead, the spirit of who you are is where the problem going to lie. And if you're a liar, a cheater, a thief, or even a person who's willing to enslave and beat someone of a different color, you got an issue. Don't you ever underestimate me thinking what I can't handle, because I promise you I'm going to shock your socks off. You don't dare ever underestimate a human being.
So are you gonna shock the socks off? Are the shoes on? Are the shoes on too, or you
They're
just
gonna slip right on past the shoes and come out. That's how much I'm gonna shock you, with you underestimating me. Yes, sir. Because you can't do that with a human.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you might think I'm weak, but you don't know on the background, I roll with God. And whatever he do, he gonna make me strong. So you sit back and think, because I'm a human, whoever you are, Mr. White Man, Mr. House Negro, whoever, I'm gonna shock you. And it might not be to your best interest. But let's just think about the why. You know what I'm saying? Just because, okay, so there were people who did fight against it then. And the reason why some people don't fight is because of they don't want to die. They would fight, but they don't want to die. They don't want to go. They don't want to be George Floyd. They don't want to do it. So that's why we're compliant. We're not just walking around here compliant for no apparent reason. Like we just said, hundreds and hundreds of years of being abused, knowing you get burned, knowing you get pulled out your house, knowing you do all that. I think at a moment, we black folk are just like, listen, whatever we got to do to live. But last thing. Now, I'm thinking about this the other day. As a slave, we ain't had to pay for nothing. We got the scraps. We ain't had to pay for no place to live. It was bad treatment. But okay, now today, we still slaving on somebody else's job. We got to pay for the house. We got to pay for the slot. We got to pay for the product. They hire us to make the product, and then we turn around and pay for the product. What's the difference? We not being brutally, physically touched? Yeah, we still are too. We just said George Floyd, right? It's hundreds of them. But let's not deny the fact that around the world right now, we got 40 million slaves. Right now, today, if you go look at a paper and look at statistics on this globe, right now, we got 40 million slaves in forced bondage, child slavery, forced slavery, sex slavery. I'm talking about statistically on the books right now. So slavery ain't went nowhere.
Wow. Let's go to Friday. Friday, good morning. How you doing this morning? Friday, you there? I think Friday that came in, but I think Friday is frozen. While Friday get everything together with a line there. Let it talk to me.
Frozen Fridays.
Frozen Fridays. Let it. What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I love to hear Toya. Speak on it, because for this is the very reason that I have problem with certain people today. I'm about fighting. Period. You Mitch, we can be anywhere and you tell me what I ain't gonna do. Ain't got nothing to do with no master, no this, that, or nothing. Tell me what I'm not gonna do. Because we can get into it. We can knock heads right now. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, bro. I ain't never sit around with my tail between my legs. I've been on jobs where other Negroes tell me, well, you shouldn't do this and you should. Take your slave A back over there and get out of my face. And working don't make you no slave. You supposed to work. Ain't what you think you was gonna eat if you didn't go pick, if you didn't grow, if you didn't plant? How was you gonna eat? How you gonna eat if you don't hunt? So don't call work slavery when you doing it to feed yourself. Okay? Because it's not that. And people who want to imagine themselves as slaves, and I don't know what it is about it, but you know, that's your thing. But if it's ruling you today, you're the problem. Mental slavery, that means you got something else going on in your head that's telling you a slave, yet the reality is that you are free. So who is the devil in this pot? You. You.
Wow.
You. Wow. Hey, them slaves wasn't imagining no whip wasn't imagining no chain, wasn't sitting here making crap up. Man, I'm a slave. What is that? That shouldn't be on our lips right now. Because of what you can do. You can walk right out there right now, do whatever you want to do. Whether it be wrong or right, you could do that. And also, when we try to characterize, leave that house Negro, slave Negro relationship alone. Because that got a lot of white folk poison in there. See, because that house Negro, the story, you don't prefer the story of the house Negro that informs the field Negro on what it is he needs to do, how he needs to act, what's going on in the world, when master sleep, when he weak, when he going somewhere. This is the time to attack. This is the time to do this. See, but no, you romanticize what white folk told you about your people, and now you sitting here making a life on this poisoned view of yourselves. That's why young black people love themselves. They love our blackness. They love these things. Now, there are some Negroes that are old enough to still be dealing with, I guess, that light skin, this, you know how y'all do. Any reason to hate one another instead of come together. You'll sit here and you'll give your whole personality and your God-given right to a free soul to something a wretched white farmer supposedly named Willie Lynch said, when you wasn't even the subject, when you wasn't even the subject sample in this whole observation that this white man had, and you walking around here talking about Willie Lynch this and Willie Lynch that, another old white farming slaver, and you don't embrace what he said about you instead of what God says about you. We're not buying it no more. And all you Negroes that bought it can lay down, because we're not listening to you no more. You can't keep telling free men, slave man stories and think they care about what you're talking about.
Wow. Good deal. Good deal. Let's keep this thing going. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Wow. That was deep. I was thinking when the question asked, would I be able to survive slavery? And I was making the assumption that I was born in that time, raised by the circumstances of the time. But when I think about, when I said I think I know I survived, when growing up in this world, growing up black in this country, I was born in 1949, and I remember how police will stop you on the street, check you when they want to, put you in the car, do whatever they want. When I got myself and probably into prison, it was a slave existence. So I mean, it was like slavery. You have to work, you do what they tell you, they controlled everything. So it's the first time I really started thinking about my actions, think about my thoughts and how they are creating things for me. So my way of trying to figure out how I'm going to get out of this part of the slave to get to full minimum to the next stage. So it was always a process of trying to figure it out. Even in the military, when I was going to, I went in surgical, they said, you don't go, we're going to lock your ass up. So I went. And we always talk, but I refused at every point. I battled, but then I saw sometimes fighting is not the way to change your situation. I wish I'd have learned that earlier. But it's you gotta think about the circumstances. Interesting fact. I was reading and I found out that the first legal case of perpetual slavery in this country was petitioned by a black man who had gained his freedom and had slaves. So slavery, you enslave the weak in finance, the weak in military, the weak in intelligence. The strong always enslave the weak. And it seems like in this economic, in this vulture capitalism we have now, I agree with capitalism. The other things don't make sense to me. The communism, the socialism, all that stuff. I looked at it, the origins of it, the Gulag Archipelago, how things evolved to put a dictator in place. And a lot of that is going on now. I do believe that people are programmed. They just go along with everything. I remember this COVID thing, going out in the store. I'm sort of a certain kind of person. Standing in the post office, a slave, I got my mask on, but I got it a little bit under my nose. He stepped out of nowhere and said, "Man, you got to put that mask on." I just asked her, I said, "You don't know me. What makes you think you can walk up to it and say anything to me?" I mean, freedom is freedom, but freedom is not given to you. You have to stand on it.
Yes, sir.
I retired from the VA when this whole COVID thing happened because I saw the impulse of someone trying to put pressure on me to do what I don't want to do, take a shot. To me, freedom is having a free will and a choice to speak your mind, but then at the same time, be willing to fight for it, die for it, kill for it. Because I will, and I always have been.
Okay.
I'm going to be free.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Raheem,
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Just be having the conversation. I have to bring up the current efforts to address these issues per the amending the 13th Constitution, 13th Amendment of the Constitution.
Wow.
Because this is an effort to not even permit slavery as it's related to servitude and being punished for crime.
Wow. Wow.
So we have to understand that there's a difference, and that it's changed over a period of time, and that the movement that has existed has been against all these things. Especially at Juneteenth was just we just celebrated Juneteenth.
Exactly.
So we should understand everything about slavery that we can to make sure we're fighting the fight to make sure it no longer becomes supported by law. That's the thing. That's what made it so different. Law supported slavery.
Yeah.
And people say, well, ain't nothing changed today. It's unlawful to do the things that white folks are still doing to black people. But before, it was legal. You could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and the government supported it. So that's a huge difference from then than now. I would think.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call asking the question, could you survive, you being who you are, could you survive as a slave? Now thrust it back in that day and time. Keep in mind, we saying thrust it back in that day and time. Could you survive as a slave? Let me take a moment right now. I know my brother's listening. Today's his birthday. Happy birthday, little brother. Appreciate
Happy
you, man.
birthday.
Happy birthday. Yes,
Raheem's
sir. Yes,
brother.
sir.
Many
brother.
more.
Yes, sir. I know he's listening, man. So I want to definitely do that shout out to him. Let me see who else I got. I got a few people. I think I got a Friday.
Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes, who's that?
K with E.
K with E.
You said you couldn't hear me earlier.
K with E. I came to you earlier. You ain't said nothing. You ain't said nothing.
I was talking, but you couldn't hear me.
Because
I had to call from my cell phone.
What? Because you didn't push that mute button. That's what that was. You got to push the mute button.
I did.
You didn't figure that thing out. It's a process. There's a process.
It was just letting you know I'm a survivor. I'm gonna survive.
Come on.
Could you survive?
God is in my corner.
So you can't survive as a slave. You would have survived.
Yes, I'm surviving now.
The times are different now, K. Now, K with E. Now you know the times are different now.
It's different. It's different, but we still deal with so much. You go to work, you deal with so much. It's like if you go to work and you ain't the boss and you ain't the supervisor, and you get one of them people that's still stuck back in them days, you gotta deal with that. So you gotta stay prayed up.
Let me ask you this question, K. Let me ask you this question, K. K, let me ask you this question real quick. And I gotta throw a little humor in there every now and then. But let me ask you this question anyway. When have you ever gone to work in this day and time and somebody hit you with a whip? Because you weren't working fast enough. God almighty.
You know what? It depends on it ain't no physical whip, but words, like your tongue is worse than a whip.
But that whip sting real bad.
I felt like so I still had to deal with it. And she was a white lady. I ended up walking off the job, but I told her about it too.
But see, you had the opportunity to walk off the job back there in slavery time. They didn't have that option. They, they could have escaped or stuff like this, but
No.
a lot of times they didn't, and so they had to continue to endure the terrible situations and conditions that they had to deal with. See, in this day and time, if your boss say something to you, and I hate the term boss, but if the person that's in charge say something to you on your job, you can you know what, get my hat, my coat, I'm going home, and they couldn't stop you. You have the right to do that. You go home and sit in your living room for 2 months if you want to, and not do anything. Watch Oprah Winfrey or whoever's on TV these days. But back in those days, okay, that wasn't an option. You something happened on the job.
No option. I like to do it, run away.
Yeah, that and that was it. Let me go to I think we have Friday. Friday, you back with us? Friday, you there?
You got Ibrahim back.
I'm here.
Okay, Friday. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hi, Jerry. Good morning.
Good. Could you have survived? When all the situations and the situation and the conditions, could you have survived as a slave?
I would not like it, but in pure survival, yes, I would have been able to survive. The challenge for me, if I was to go back in that time with all of the knowledge I have now, I think that outside of the shock of being in that situation, just taking it face value, it would be difficult because a lot of things seem so much easier looking at it in retrospect, but being in it and having the same mindset, I would move differently and probably be able to participate in a way where we move past it faster because I'll be able to apply the knowledge that was already given. But if I'm to go in the mindset of not having the education and information I have right now and found myself in that situation of slavery of then without the knowledge, I would be able to survive. And I just think that knowing who I am as a thinker and as a asking questions, I probably would have been one of the ones actively involved in trying to get out of that state and get other people out of that state. But we have to remember, it was a period of time, even though people chose to jump off ships before they even touched ground and died in the process, long before some of the abolitionists and others rose up and said, okay, enough is enough. So I think that there's a good period of time that a lot of us only fast forwarding or reverse backing to maybe Harriet Tubman time, but even before her, they were just going with the flow, trying to figure out dying, in the process. And generations of it later, people was like, okay, let's get out of here, let's get out. But anyway, to your question, yes, I could survive.
Okay, good deal. Badger, what's on your heart? Yes.
In respect to, because many of those slaves did survive, and they're no longer with us. And if you ever been to an African-centered service or worship service or a church, if you all would think about pouring out libations to the ancestors who did make it.
Absolutely.
The young people call pouring it out for your dead homies. That's a custom of pouring libations for the ancestors that have gone on before us.
Wow.
So if you did not know, now you know.
Absolutely. Let's keep this thing going. Let's go to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
There's different levels of slavery.
Yes. Come on.
I think people need to understand the different concepts of slavery. You had some people that were forced to be slaves because they lost in war. And then you had some that signed up to be slaves because they owed a debt. Or maybe they just needed to earn some money. So they became indentured servants. Now, we talk about slavery evolving, and we talk about the Emancipation Proclamation, and we talk about Juneteenth and this and that, but go check out this documentary called The Cotton Picking Truth, Still on the Plantation. And you're going to find out about some black people in 2009 that were still slaves.
Wow.
Eating crickets and dead fish off the bank. They didn't know no better. Somebody manipulated their family over all of these years to the point to where they still kept them in servitude, kept them in extreme poverty. And see, this is the thing about it. Slavery and poverty are first cousins.
Yes, sir.
They are first cousins. Most people actually volunteered themselves into slavery because of poverty created by the rich and the wealthy. So at one point in time, slavery was sort of, I don't want to say desired, but it was a different process when people were volunteering to do it, or maybe you was captured in war. But now, the slavery that happened over here was totally different because it wasn't nothing about no war, it wasn't nothing about no voluntary. It was just, hey, you black and we white, and y'all don't deserve to be nothing better than what you are. And we're gonna build this country off your black backs. And it's profitable. And without it, capitalism in this country will not survive.
Come on, say it.
See, it became very profitable, and they forced it. So that tradition continued because they got comfortable. And black people will conform, born into it, and dying out of it, some 70-something years, just used to the tradition and the culture that was created forcefully and manipulated. So when somebody finally had a vision to say, well, you know what, man, let's come up with this machine that's going to make picking this kind of a little easier, man. Oh, man, you were good. See, I probably would have been a good slave. I probably would have been the one to say, well, you know what, man, since they're going to make us work like this, let me see if I can find a way to make this work a little easier. Like, yeah, good boy, Rico, good boy. Pat me on my head like a puppet. Good boy. You just made the work easier. Now we can make more money for us white plantation owners, but only thing y'all gonna get is a little break. Now we're gonna find another way for y'all to work for us and make life easier for us. Then so you had another person, probably like me, probably like Lat Turner, somebody that like Friday, a thinker that's gonna say, wait a minute, man, I'm just thinking that I don't think my life is supposed to be like this. I don't think anybody's life is supposed to be like this. And I'm just going to say something about this because I think I deserve equal opportunity. I think I have a God-given natural right to do some of these things they're telling me I don't have a right to do. And I can't put up with it. So you get some progress, and over time we get rights and we get laws, and they come up with emancipation proclamations and declaring slavery. Then they come up with these amendments. Look, 13th Amendment existed. And in 2009, they still found slaves. They came up with laws forbidding slavery, banning slavery, this and that. But they also came up with black codes. They also came up with peonage. They always found a way to manipulate the system and work their way around it to still keep slavery in place by another name. Slavery by another name. The prison system became the new slavery once they found a way to start making us a majority. Do y'all know in 1920 we may have been 6% black people? I'm gonna say we. Melanated people may have been 6% of the entire prison population in 1920.
Wow.
Now we might be 86%. Things were put in place, and all the process put in place, and it evolved to still maintain that system of getting free labor out of people, or creating more poverty via the way of life that we have right now. So I mean, we might be looking at slavery in one way, not understanding the mental slavery absolutely. The financial oppression that causes a mental slavery, the poverty, the slave wages that people refuse to raise the wages for, so you can have a quality of life.
Good deal. Rico, so, wrap it up for me, Rico. Gotta keep it moving, brother.
We just got to keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind that slavery does come in different. It came in different forms and it evolved. And if you're not careful, we'll think that it was over. But there's a documentary out, The Cotton Picking Truth, Still on the Plantation. Check it out if you can.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go to Goddess, and then Ibrahim will come to you. Goddess, what's on your heart? Good morning. How you doing this morning? Goddess. Goddess, you gotta find out what a mute button at now. Where you at over there?
I found.
I
found. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
I'm doing pretty good.
Now,
Because you said a whole lot, I'm so glad what you said because all that is true. And I read I watched a documentary about it. Down on the tundra, where they still had Black people really in servitude, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if I was going to be if I was born in that time frame in a slave, I know as high yellow I would be inside the master's house or whatever. But I'm quite sure, even though I'm not a cooker, but I'm quite sure I probably would have been learning how to cook. And all of them probably wouldn't have made it through them dinners.
Mm-hmm.
So I know my position and I know where I stand at, and I'm quite sure that dinner. They wouldn't have made it through dinner with me as I, continue to grow. And I'm kind of like, I watched Harriet Tubman last night, and process was because we still had the same guy, the same mindset of some of our elderly that then, especially when it comes to the political world, we're gonna vote for people that are friends that ain't really doing nothing, but they're friends in us, but they're not doing nothing for our community. And it keeps us in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of voting for somebody who's gonna really fight.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Rico made a lot of sense, so did Goddess. And that guy, I can't remember the gentleman's name, my age, just a little over me.
Hicks.
But, hello?
Yeah, Brother Hicks. Mm-hmm.
Brother Hicks, yeah. You're making a very valid point that I was trying to make, but I guess I started off, because they were saying that what they are today and how bad they are today. So I do it directly impact at the media generation here in the space. Harriet Tubman said, I would have freed thousands of slaves, right? If they knew they were slaves. You know what I mean? It's just like the Matrix, right? You take this pill, you find out the truth. You take this pill, you remain in the same society you're in. The American Revolution was fought over, not, over servitude to a superior force where they didn't have their rights, taxation without the right of representation. Our representation is so mediocre that it don't even stand up to call ourselves, a group of people. We have to call ourselves one thing, American. We can't call ourselves that we're looking out for ourselves and our interests, right? Unless it's the American interest. The American interest is not necessarily our interest. We don't have the ability to write. The same problems that we had in 1920, you read Marcus Garvey, right? The same problems we have now. Not representation in the judicial system, not representation in the legal system. Laws are passed, even though we pick people that look like us, laws still pass the same way it would have passed back then, in favor of one group of people, or majority, and not in favor of a minority group. Our population is diminishing at such a great, horrendous rate that we don't know what to say. Our population in jail is 80 or 90%, and we're only 13% of the population. Now, and that's a larger prison population in the whole entire world, in whatever communist country that you want to say. And the laws are stacked against them problems. And like Rico said, that I believe that poverty and slavery are brothers and sisters. You can't have one. You have one without one with the other. Same genetic concept. The jobs that people work are minimum wages that don't even allow you to live as a group of as one person, much less a family of 3 or 4 or a family of 2. If you want to push yourself to get all the benefits of society, and even our expectations are enslaved by wanting more than we can have. Wanting more and more and more, one of these things to qualify that we are a person or a real person. That's slavery. living from day to day, to paycheck, from hour to hour, job to job, work to work, or trying to do this or trying to do that, be a part of this or be a part of that, be with this society, that society. That's slavery. And you know what? The other thing, the same slavery and modern day, right, is consequences. It might be in the whip, like the sister was saying, back you were saying, it might be in the whip back in the day, the person being whipped her, but her financial situation, her children, her having a roof over her head, and all these different things together, right? That's the quintessential thing of how you were enslaved. If you could walk away from that job, you had no consequences, right? Then that would be slavery. If you could do this, that, and the other thing. And even when we protest, it's almost illegal to protest now, which is a freedom and a right to protest. But you can go to jail for protest. Martin Luther King said we fill up the jails, right?
Yeah.
You hear one person saying that now, we'll fill up the jails because we want this, and this is the right thing to do. No, you won't hear that. So we are a society of people that we will accept. Me and somebody put a situation. We sound like he's giving up. No, I'm not giving up. I've been, I was raised up in the community. We fought. We've been fighting since the first European arrived on this continent. We were here 70,000 years ago, right? We fight today. I'm alive. I'm fighting. I'm a fiction of my ancestry, right? We fight for what is right and to help people understand what is the difference between freedom and independence than being emancipated. We might be emancipated, but we are nowhere near free or independent because we still depend on the same people that emancipated or put us in the situation that we're in today.
Good deal.
And we cannot
Let's keep this thing
change
going.
this.
Yeah.
We cannot change this as long as we believe that this is some type of freedom. We talk about go kill somebody, or
Okay.
I know somebody step on somebody's foot,
Ibrahim.
But
Ibrahim. Hold on,
yes,
brother.
yes,
Let's balance it. Let's balance it, brother. Stay right there. Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna come right back to you. But Tucson, what's on your heart? Lord Jesus. Lord. Rico, that's your brother.
Well, I just don't know how to get out with. You know what? Somebody said it earlier. The we is what keeps us in bondage. Because I ain't with you. The we. I'm not with the we.
Is it gonna take?
You better preach, Donald.
Is it gonna take the we to survive?
Not all the we.
Okay.
No. See, you're not gonna survive with the we. Some of us, the point of their survival is jumping off a ship. I'll be like goddess. I'll cook, but you're not gonna survive the meal.
I don't want to eat that then, Tucson. I don't want that, man. It ain't to die for.
Well,
that meal ain't to die for, brother.
Good, but it's gonna taste good. Put all your season that you got me working for in the field in it with extra preservatives and additives. But when it comes down to it, I'm trying to figure out my way out of it because I don't like being in it.
Yeah.
So if I gotta make it through the day by day, that don't mean I'm giving in or surrendering. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Whatever it takes.
Making your way through.
So here's the other thing. There's some that say we, and you know what they say? We slaves.
Wow.
We? Who is we? I'd be like, look like I'm gonna have to poison your food too.
Lord. Badger, what's on your heart? Tucson just gonna kill everybody off.
I was thinking about what I learned Saturday because the county I live in was doing a Juneteenth celebration and all that stuff. And I walked around talking to a lot of people. It was awesome to learn so much. And there was these dancers that came from Dallas that have been working to teach and share some of the culture from like the West Africa areas. And while I was sitting there listening, I was talking to some of the people that's around here, and they couldn't. As I was talking to them, I was trying not to cry because they couldn't. Something in them liked the beat, but they couldn't understand what the music was for, even when they explained it. And it showed me how much of the culture was lost, that some people are trying to bring back. You know, the joys of, you know, community dancing and music for the soul and all that kind of beautiful thing, music. And just getting to talk to them and things like that. And I was like the only one out of all the people around there that even took the time to even speak to them after after they were done doing their dancing and stuff. And it to me, it's a reminder of what has been left over from the corrupt human beings that used other people.
Wow. Wow.
And it was hard for me to process. I spent most of yesterday processing it. And it's to see such a different side or view of things. People that, you know, like what Leonard has been talking about and things, and a couple of others, you know, it isn't, the time isn't the same. So here are these people who have went and learned the culture from over there and brought it here to teach the people here. And then there's other people that hold on to things. There's so much difference in view that I got to see Saturday that it's hard to take in at times, because it shows examples of trauma. It shows examples of reacting or not reacting. There are probably words that would better describe it, and I just don't know them.
Yeah,
but it was very wild to observe. You know, I see it in a lot of the native communities I've been around and stuff, but I also got to see it among black people Saturday. And, you know, some of them looked at me kind of funny, and some of them were like, hey, let's talk. And it's just wild to see such a vast differences in mentality, even in the small town I live in.
Wow. There's a lot. There's definitely a lot going on. Mary, you had a question? You wanted to ask? No, you asked. Just ask. Bring Toya. Toya. You know who she going? You know who she going? Okay, there she go. Ask your question.
My question for you, can you?
Yeah, go ahead. Speak up.
Would you rather be a revolutionary fighter or a peaceful fighter?
No. I'm only gonna be peaceful if you're gonna be peaceful. I'm all with peace. I'm all with peace first. And that's my personality and my spirit. Let's try to solve it out, work it out like we got some sense. But if you want a revolution, I can do that too. So if it's a preference, it's peace. But I already know a transition like that, it ain't gonna be nothing but a piece of steel you're gonna have to use, because transitions from what you have on the line, that's kind of hard to get peaceful. But hey, Mary, I'm with whatever, baby.
Okay. Charles?
I heard my name.
Yes. Did you hear her question?
No, I didn't hear it. Go ahead.
Ask it again, Mary.
Would you rather be a revolutionary fighter or a peaceful fighter?
A revolutionary fighter? What fighter?
Or a peaceful fighter?
Which one get the most done? I want to be the one to get the most done.
How do you know?
I don't know. I mean, if it's something, because some things are needed for peaceful fighting is needed for some things.
Mm-hmm.
But but a revolutionary fight, I get to shoot people, right?
Yeah. That's part of the revolution. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes.
I get a chance to shoot people. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take that chance.
Cassandra?
No, I mean, I guess probably revolutionary. I really don't know on that one, to be honest, because it's about results. Because I can talk to people and get them to do things without fighting them.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, if you rub me the wrong way, I'm gonna fight you, and it won't even be out of anger. It's because we have to fight that day.
Mm-hmm. This is the day to fight. This is the day to fight.
This is the day to fight, bro. This is the day we got to do it.
I see some fight in our future. Let me go.
Wait. I see some furniture movement in our future.
Exactly. Sandra, what would you rather be?
I'm pretty much either. I can go either way.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that there are certain circumstances where the fight has to be a fight and somebody losing blood.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way. So, I mean, just think about most of the major changes ever made in this country was done through blood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't done at a negotiating table.
Yeah.
Sitting down. No.
Yeah.
It was done through blood. So I'd probably end up being more of the revolutionary because of just my personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love to be able to sit down and work. We've tried that in this country.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah.
Rico, she want me to go to you next.
I said a perfect world. Maybe if I had an ideal world to live in, being that I love life, I would prefer a peaceful place. I don't even know if you could be a peaceful fighter. I fight for peace.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But in this reality that we live in, it turned me into a revolutionary fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore I would have to prefer that being that the conditions we live in, they promote that.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary. It warrants me to be a revolutionary fighter. So you can be peaceful at times, but even in peace, you can be deceived.
Yes.
And those people will still not do what they're supposed to do on their end, just because they knew that you would take a peaceful route.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to find other means, So, I put it to this way, man. If I would prefer peace, so everybody would, be happy and wouldn't have to worry about war and dying or whatever. But this time that we live in now, I would have to be a revolutionary. I don't prefer that.
Do you think people understand peace, Rico? Do you think people understand peace, or the bullet is more powerful and more persuasive, if you will?
I don't think they can understand peace because they prefer greed too much. People are too selfish to understand peace. So they don't understand what's necessary for peace. They don't understand the biggest part of peace. The most key component of peace is probably sacrifice.
Yes.
And see, I think that's really what the biggest problem in all of the world's is. Pretty much everything that's going wrong in this world is the fact that some people are refusing to sacrifice some things and desires that makes them feel good. They don't want to sacrifice some rewards.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? How do you answer that question?
You pick your fights.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fight the same way all the time. Depends on who you're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to use your head rather than the weapon or your back.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
You meet the circumstances and fight accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to fight sitting at the table. That's just me.
Yeah. That's good.
Because if you, what sense does it make for me to want to fight when all I got is a butter knife?
Better sharpen that
Then
butter
I might
knife up,
need to
brother.
talk. I might need to talk that thing out.
Especially when they got
You know what I'm
bullets.
saying?
Especially when they got bullets on.
Yeah, they got bullets.
Yeah, don't take no knife to
So
no
here you
gunfight.
go with you go in and want to revolutionize, and you don't have nobody fighting with you.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So what you gonna do?
Mm.
You in a crowd of one, and you're the only one got some guts. You might want to do something else.
Yeah.
Try to analyze the situation a little bit more before you go to swinging.
Reconsider your consideration.
I'm just saying, it's not conforming.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing something else to make it to the next fight.
Exactly.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt, but daughter, you know when you get ready to go to that war and ain't nobody with you, that's when everybody say, no, we want to be a part of the We Too movement then.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We too.
Well, y'all are something else. Y'all something else. Let me say, Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? What do you say to that?
Well, history shows us that there's never in the history of mankind been a non-violent revolution, and that's no swipe at that's no swipe at.
Hey, Kurt, you breaking up, brother.
I said history shows us that there has never in the history of mankind been a non-violent revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Revolutions always have a blood issuance first, and then a negotiation that becomes non-violent second. That's one. Two, in order to dispel slavery is only mentioned in the Constitution one time. And what they did was they did a real slick thing is they changed the words to, I think it's people of interest or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they changed it to basically says, y'all know we talking about the Negro. But, and if you read the Constitution further, I want to say after the 13th and 14th Amendment, there's an amendment that says that you cannot dispel the previous amendments.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to make any adjustments, you would have to strike the amendment that says that you can strike previous. I can't remember the amendment names. That's why I said earlier that it would behoove us to sit down and try to school up, because that lawyer really breaks slavery down from a legalistic point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I would implore folks to, when you get a chance, it's a hard read, but there's a book called The Bullwhip Days. If you really put it as a Cassandra, oh my God, she said something earlier that is really, really hard to do. You know, I've been enacting now since 19. And out of everything that I've done, the one thing I remember more than anything is I had a line in a play called Curlius by Davis. And the line says, toll the bell, Missy. Toll that black sack bell. Tell free deaths are coming. And I will never forget that line. Every time I say it, I get chills and goosebumps, because I fully, even at the age of 16, I fully understood the weight of that one line. Tell freedom that deaths are coming. Freedom ain't free. I don't know where we got this concept from, but freedom ain't free. I believe it was Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, which one of them it was that said, "Give me liberty or give me death." Liberty is a form of freedom.
John Paul.
So there.
Right when he was getting ready to come back, he froze up. So yeah, we froze up. So yeah, either you could come on, Toya, run it, or I'll run it.
You already on?
Yeah, go ahead, Toya. It's been a while since you spoke.
You already
Hey,
on?
okay.
Go ahead, Charles.
I got a question. Do y'all know the meaning? And I'm not trying to change anything of the Juneteenth. How many people you think really know what really happened?
I think most people are finding out. It's starting to become popular, popular enough to where people understand why it exists. Because it would be sort of foolish for people to observe the holiday or to even mention that we're having it and not know why it's a national holiday now.
But
So
do they
it's
think?
really, I think that was a great reason for them to make it a national holiday,
You
just for
think
the
so?
fact that, because now people have to be aware it's in the atmosphere.
Well,
It's out
what
now.
was it? What? So the other slaves that listened to the Union, the Black Union soldiers, and who drove by, because they weren't on the plane. They rode their horses and said, "You all are free. You all are free. You all are free." When these slaves in Texas didn't believe them, so they went back to being slaves. Now, but all the other slaves who were free. Now you got to understand, Juneteenth, after Juneteenth or whatever that date, there were still other places that still had slaves. You understand? But these slaves were specifically told by Black soldiers that they were free, and they didn't believe it until the white soldiers came and told them. Now you could say that, well, that's how their mind was set because of slavery. That is true. But and also the other slaves who they didn't fly there. You understand? They had to ride there on horses. So days they ran into other slaves that believed them. And it's not like and you got to understand it was a war for or against slavery. So the masters, then they lost the war, but you think they like took it in stride? They're not going to take it in stride. They're going to go against what's going on.
All
So
right, we're back.
even though they were told, oh, he's back. Raheem back.
I think y'all were talking about Juneteenth.
I was just
Well, we were talking.
Yeah, but go ahead, brother, because that's you.
Okay. Let's keep this thing going. Miri has another question. Ask the second one first. She had another question she want to ask. Rico, she coming to you first on this one. You want to first? No, Rico, she shot you down. You gotta go. She want to Toya first. She said she coming to you next. Toya, with a T, you there?
Yes, sir. I was trying to eat my sandwich.
Nah, you don't need no sandwich.
In your opinion, who was the most influential person to promote change for our people?
Wow, the most influential to promote change for our people. Well, you know what, Mary? Just having a leader mindset and looking at what it is, there is no one person because there ain't no I in team. You understand what I'm saying? And there has been a collective of people that all have played a very intricate role in where we are. And I don't think that not even the slightest role should be taken for granted. Because in order for this to be this way, you can think that, there's a story in the Bible of this lady who was like a prostitute. And there was this king that needed a place to hide. But at any rate, I think she wound up chopping off the king's head. So even though she was an insignificant person, really didn't have nothing to do with the story, she was just kind of in the right place at the right time. But that change was, significant to history. And I think it's the same way for our people. We can't just say Rosa Parks. We can't just say Martin Luther King. We can't just say Malcolm X. You understand what I'm saying? Because everything that it took for us to kind of be where we are and just to keep moving forward, it's a collective from Harriet Tubman in the beginning, from before then, from even to George Floyd, and all he did was die. You understand what I'm saying? So I really can't say that the progression of our people is just one person. It has been a collective of sacrifices that people have made to kind of help us be in this position and keep progressively moving forward.
Man, I thought you was gonna say Pookie Jones.
I think the way I was going with it was who's like the face of us, because everything needs a poster, you know, as far as who do we stand behind. Otherwise we're just all kind of moving without guidance.
Well, then that's what we're doing. Then
that's what
'Cause I
happened.
see on one face.
Wow, Rico.
Is that dead or alive?
It doesn't matter.
Well, I would have to say dead, or not dead, but I would have to say Martin Luther King Jr. And the reason why I say that is because he probably picked up the most momentum, not only nationwide, but worldwide. He probably pulled in the most support outside of our race, nationwide and worldwide, to the issues of what was going on in America. Malcolm X didn't have that much appeal outside the borders. Frederick Douglass and W.E.B. Du Bois, they didn't have as much appeal outside the borders. Marcus Garvey didn't. Martin Luther King, he was that peaceful person. He was able to do it in a way to the point of where people felt comfortable embracing what he was saying, but at the same time, he could penetrate their hearts with his message. I mean, man, his oratory skills were so great. You know, it was hard. It's almost like what Willa House says, she's praised. You could feel that passion in Martin Luther King, man. He touched your humanity. He touched your conscience. And so I think the support that he generated and the momentum that he created around this planet worldwide makes him the face of what is going on for melanated Americans over here.
Good deal. Good deal. Who next, man? Tucson.
You're still gonna keep me off, right?
No, stay right there. We're coming to you, brother. We got about 15, 20 people on here. I'm make my way around. We gotta be
Going
patient.
around about 4 5.
No, be patient, brother. Be patient, brother. Be patient, brother.
I'm patient.
Okay,
brother.
Tucson, what's on your heart?
Hey, I'm still alive. I'm 71, so I'm patient.
Ibrahim. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
Let me see. Look, man, I think that it took them off. You couldn't, Malcolm couldn't do it. That's why they sat at the table, I think. That's why they had a conversation. And a lot of people, Malcolm and Martin Luther had to talk this thing out and see how we as a people, because all of us was in trouble. So fighting and talking, it took both of them. They had some of them that said, we're not going to take this mess, and I mean that. And they didn't. Then they had some that said, okay, we're going to, whoever gospel they was talking about, you know, we're going to make some sense of this thing that they talk about, and we're going to stand. And at the same time, we're not going to fight. We're going to go to jail because we're not complying. But we're not going to do it like Malcolm. So both of them had momentum. And I don't know when they decided. I might be totally wrong. But they did decide, okay, let's sit down and talk this thing. Let's talk it. Let's talk it through. And let's do what we do in our own, the momentum that we have with the people that are following. Both of them might not have the many followers as the other one did, but they all had some. And the way that they led, the followers follows and accomplished something. But it took them both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Leonard? Leonard, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who do you think it was?
Well, I believe the question that she asked was about the person foremost fight to end slavery. Was that it?
No. She changed it up. What is it, Mary? The most influential person that had the most impact on us as a people.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't. All of them. All of them. All of them had something, had a part to play and played their part in their time, in their respective place. So all of them that contribute to the movement were significant because they were a part of that movement. The biggest, probably the biggest person in the beginning, Black, that people remember is, Frederick Douglass was an abolitionist.
Yes.
See, that was the fight to end slavery. Martin Luther King's fight and Malcolm's fight was different. So if you're looking at it from a movement and an abolitionist perspective, you have to go a lot further back to end slavery, because all white folks did not support slavery as well. So, and a lot of times white folks and Black folks worked together in the beginning of the abolitionist movement. There were a lot of white people that helped to finance the movement as well. People don't talk a lot, you used to hear old folks say, well, I be John Brown and things like that. Or people don't talk about William Lloyd Garrison and other people at the forefront that had became a part of this movement. Frederick Douglass was the biggest Black abolitionist I think that most people think of when you think of Black abolition. But the Quakers had already presented their opposition to American slavery in 1688. So they were, and the Quakers to this day still support the advancement of African Americans. Little known, but they still do those types of things. So many people contributed to that. And if we would continue to contribute to the movement, we could destroy things faster. Like, say, for instance, something as simple as voting. You can destroy a white supremacist by simply voting against him. If he's in office, if you live in places where they are in office, for instance, you can fight against it that way. I think you made that question about, she asked a question previously about fighter.
Yes.
Fighting is what it is. It's necessary. So however you do it, as long as it contributes to that objective of ending slavery, ending injustice, you're fighting. If you just prefer not to fight with your hands or be violent, you would take the approach that Martin chose.
Wow. That's
and
good.
it'll be known, the Nation of Islam is not about violence. I don't care what people think. They're not about violence.
No, not at all.
And them folks, they don't. I mean, it's never been that. That's something white folks got y'all believe. But they were no more about violence than Martin was about violence. But they were just letting you know that they were willing, if necessary,
I ain't gonna turn the other cheek. You ain't
by
gonna stop
any
me.
means necessary. And if you look at that phrase, some people say, oh, it's about fighting. It's about fighting. No, it's about however we can get that victory.
That's good.
That's what we will pursue.
Absolutely. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. I'm gonna build Cassandra, I'm coming to you, and I'm gonna build a little bit off Miriam's question that she just asked about who is the most influential person in our community. Cassandra, what era do you think moved us forward the fastest? Was it 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or is it 2000 now, the 2000s? What do you think? What era moved us forward the fastest?
I personally think it was the 60s, because they were out there and they were getting things done. Things were moving along. We do good talking, and we have I don't understand why we're not farther. Maybe somebody else can explain it to me, because we have the technology, everything that we need that could move us quickly to come against some of the stuff or to fight for the changes that we want, and we don't utilize them as we should. And I'm totally with Leonard. Voting would be our number one way, and you can't even get a lot of our people to go out and vote. Take a few minutes and go vote. Vote who you want to, whoever you want to vote for. Do that. But I feel like the 60s, they got out there, they were beaten, they had dogs on them, they were hoes, but they went to jail, but they got the job done. Things were being changed.
Yes.
Hey, Raheem.
Yes.
Based on what Cassandra just said, like, from being involved. And I think that's where when you talk about stagnant and things of that nature, you can't fight for something that's already won.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember that fight was different because that was prior to the Civil Rights Act. You got to remember that was prior to the Civil Rights Act. So there was different objectives at that point. This is why, one, if you're going to appeal and to keep this movement going, you have to appeal to a generation who has accomplished so much and who have every opportunity at their fingertip. Our fight now is about injustice. I'm not fighting for your happiness. I'm not fighting for none of that romance that you have in your head. That's not what we're fighting for.
Yeah.
And anybody looking for an objective on that line will never accomplish anything.
Wow.
And so you all said something earlier. Poverty and slavery go together. No, they don't. I believe you have a right to be poor. You have that right to be poor if that's what you would like. But you also have the opportunity to not be poor. Now, whether slavery comes in, I'm not sure, but they're not related that way.
Okay. Let me keep this thing going. I sort of based on. Okay. Let me go right now to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Well, that was a good conversation she said about the 60s and everything. And Leonard is so off of history and everything. Me as a person that was
Hold on. Say you say Ibrahim. No. Ibrahim. I'm asking you a question, brother. You're not gonna I can't let you take over the show, brother. Yeah, all due respect, but I can't let you take over the show. But let me ask you, what did you just say about Leonard? You say Leonard is what about history?
He's wrong about history.
Okay.
We got started in the civil rights movement. They passed the laws in '63. It was to the late '70s down south where you had any benefit of the law. And still today, we fight for the Voting Rights Act. The voting rights were established on the southern states because of the misfunction in the government. And it still kept, every 30 years it was reinstalled. Now, anyway, it gets back to about the most influential thing to me. If a student of history, the most influential persons, then I would say group of people on our time. World War I, after World War I, is the most deciding group of history of our people. And then also that came with the laws of segregation. I say the bloody 1919. Everybody says the same thing, right? World War II was the next big push for civil rights, right? And you can argue with me, but you can read history and look at it for yourself. And another thing we argued earlier, and so influential, was people like Marcus Garvey, was like people like Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, or Prince Hall, for God's sake, or Charles Richard Allen. But getting back to what was said about earlier, we talking about slavery and everything. You have to understand there was a law passed in 1619 and in 1640. You check my history that determined what black and white was. That's a legal definition that America coined the phrase black and white. There were black people that was called West Africans or native black people in this country that served in servitude or in another situation would cause the law to be changed, right? That we had this type of slavery, and that's a British element. It had nothing to do with the Spanish or the French who brought slaves in 1500. But getting back to all we say, the most influential thing of our people's movement at the time, and nothing has changed from the 60s to today. Only people not fighting for it. They don't see the need to fight for it. And we is a conversation that we get because we have the same colored skin, or we have the same heritage or something like that, right? That's the we. And you could ignore it if you want to and go out there by yourself, whatever, and think there's no we. But your laws and everything affect the we, which is the you or the I, And so my last statement about everything, right? That I think that we're not paying attention to what's going on now and making analogies or comparisons to what was then and what is happening now and where we need to move forward.
Okay.
And we look at where we need to move forward today. We'll see the only difference is that we're not compassionate and we won't stand up for ourselves or understand what is actually going on because we want to reflect some distorted view of history that is pushed upon us to make us like this, to make us believe these things, right? Everybody each their own right to some part of the story of history or romanticism and all like this, right? That's because people have told you and given you the same history. I've heard people say, talk against one person's view of history, and then these people cause your view of history to be this way. So you can't have both of the best of both worlds. Either you are or you're not. Either you are black and you suffer the same circumstances all of us suffer, just because you eat better in the master's house, just because you wear different clothes, or you get paid more for your labor going out being loaned out to other plantations for your labor, whatever it is, right? You still in the same situation.
Okay, good
And
deal.
once you
Good deal.
understand
Wrap
that,
up from Ibrahim.
then you understand what the next move is. Yes.
Good deal. Good deal.
Raheem, I learned something today.
Uh-huh.
I had no clue that World War II was started because of civil rights.
No, I didn't say that. I said that.
Hold on.
World War II
Hold
was
on. Hold on. Hold on.
to a civil
Hold on.
right.
We're not
Now,
we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna.
You gonna call me
We're
out?
not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that, y'all. We're not gonna do on either end. We're not gonna do that. Let me keep this thing going. Friday, what's on your heart?
I just think that coming out of the cusp of Juneteenth, most of the places are closing the federal level recognition of the day and the holiday, or as a holiday. I think that it's really important for us to continue to capitalize on the momentum. There's a lot of things that have taken over the momentum in a lot of different ways, and not to say that it's not important. But I've heard a lot of speaking and rhetoric to a certain degree about how the LGBTQA2I community has hijacked the civil rights movement for their own advancement. But if that is true, then maybe we should pause and look at how they were able to do so with the very thing that we had at our access in the whole time, and why we're not moving more forward together. So let's just really look at ways we can continue to advance forward and move our narrative to provide additional freedoms and benefits for us all.
Good deal. Good deal. Boom. Let's go to Goddess. Goddess, what's on your heart? Let me clear my throat.
I don't know. I'm just sitting back listening and enjoying the information right now. Right now, I just don't have much to say. I mean, I like to hear different people's point of view. So
Yeah.
I'm going to keep learning and listening.
Good deal. Good deal. Curtis, talk to me, brother.
No, Raheem, I don't know what to say, man.
Come on, Kurt. Come on, Kurt. Now, this ain't you, brother. Come on, talk to me. Come on.
I don't know what to say because I don't want to seem disrespectful, man. But some people is speaking in ignorance. Some people is speaking in ignorance, man. There ain't no other way to put that, twist it, turn it. Some people is speaking in ignorance. I have never in my life thought that I would see a time when black people would. Oh God. Oh my God. Oh Lord have mercy. Jesus, please. I know you told us we perish because of lack of knowledge. Some people is turning history into what they want it to be. L-Dog was dead on point. He was dead on point. Folks need to do some more homework, man. Get out the books that told you the lies, man. First and foremost, black people was brought here for one thing and one thing only. It was to build. There is no recording in history, in the history of our globe, that shows a greater society able to build everything from agriculture to societal needs. The first toilet was created by... Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Your richest entities right now, we tend to separate slavery from being a northern thing and a southern thing.
which is a fallacy. Because one of the biggest supporters and prop men of slavery was New York.
That's right.
Yeah, I said it. It was New York and DC. It was New York and DC. And if you read what Andrew Jackson said, who died 16 years before the Emancipation Proclamation was even written, you'll understand what slavery actually was about and why it existed. If you really read the Willie Lynch letter, the Willie Lynch letter gives you the keys to how you can maintain economic stability and economic power. That's basically what the Willie Lynch letter says. If you get the people scared, the people will do whatever you tell them to do. If you can tell them to do, then what will happen is, if you can always lead them and tell them what they have to do, then they will do it. While all at the same time you're selling the goods for profit. Do we not realize that over 2.3 billion pounds of cotton was picked between 18, I think it was a 20-year time span. So between, I think, 1786 and 1808, there was 2.3 billion pounds of cotton picked.
Mm-hmm.
Do we even understand when the supposedly first slaves in 1619, which is a lie, when the
Wrap it up for me, Curtis.
first Egypts came? All right, man, I'm gonna shut up.
No. Finish your thought. Finish your thought. Cause you going somewhere, but finish your thought for me.
When the supposedly first original slave ships came here, 1619, the slave census was, I think it was either 300 and something thousand. It was either 300 something thousand or 700 something thousand. The slave censorship went to 4 million prior to the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The biggest, and I'll end with this. Here's the dollars and cents of it in total. There was 635 million or 635 billion, one of the two. $635 million worth of intergenerational wealth created prior to the slaves even being freed. A lot of that intergenerational wealth was created by picking cotton and goods and services. Now, that's not the only part of the wages that was considered. First off, the only people to get reparations was the slave owners. That's number one. Number two, guess what else they was making money off of? Each slave had a life insurance policy that was insured by places like Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, right out of New York. So when a slave died, the slave master was paid wages for his death, be it if he was killed, murdered, whatever you want to put it. If he died in transport, they was already paid wages for, they was already paid in life insurance.
Hence the verbiage. Hence the verbiage. You're worth more to me dead than you're alive.
That's right.
That's
I'm going to get paid if you live, if you die.
Yeah. Curtis, got to keep it moving, brother. Got to keep it moving, brother. Hold on one second. Let me go to. As a matter of fact, Rico, I think you had a question. Rico,
I was wondering, was that pounds or tons of cotton?
Curtis?
According to the data that I got and the data that I received last night, there was a total of 2.3 billion pounds of cotton picked in. I noticed I said in 20 years, Rico.
Mm-hmm.
In 20 years. We all know if you take a pillow of cotton and put it in your hand, which is true, because I done been in the cotton fields myself. If you take a pillow of cotton and put it in your hand, it barely weighs anything.
Yeah.
We're talking about 2.3 billion pounds.
Wow. Let's keep this thing going. Tucson, you had a question, brother, or something on your heart?
No, man, I just listen.
Question.
Go ahead and ask the question, man. I'm just laughing.
Tucson, go ahead.
Okay. The question is about, and he's right about that. A lot of view of slavery we have is on those 20 years and not the whole entire slavery from 1500 to emancipation. But it was black. Now, is I'm right that Black Sam Eli Whitney slave invented the cotton gin, which made it pickable and survivable from the poison of the seeds. If you pick cotton like I have, the seeds were a big problem. And by the milk, by removing the seeds, you were able to ship the cotton, spun it, and send it up to New England, which Massachusetts was a big supporter, the first big cotton mill in America. Was that one of the causes of the benefit of the cotton becoming the main source of income in America, rather than tobacco or other staples?
Okay, let me break this down, Raheem. One of the main reasons why the war was even fought is because the South recognized that they would lose power in the Congress and the Senate if you took the rights to own slaves away. If they begin to vote, that all that. But here was another kicker. The other kicker was, what nobody ever talks about, the British was backing the South. Mm-hmm. And the British was filtering money into the South to cause a split between the Americas as a result of the Revolutionary War. See, the British were still upset that we kicked their butt in the Revolutionary War. So there's elements to this that we don't talk about. But then
that's true.
I'm not going to speak against Eli Whitney. Eli Whitney was one of the greatest inventors of all times. And when you speak against him, then you speak against Black ingenuity. All right? So let's not go there. At the end of the day, it was all dollars and cents. But all at the same time, even when you look at slavery abroad, nobody carried slavery out the way that America did it. Nobody was that heinous. Nobody was that cruel. You understand? Slavery was a sentence. Somebody said something earlier against your servitude. That was. You broke the law. The people you broke the law from. Let's not twist it up. See, we're not going to twist it to fit a specific narrative. We're going to twist it for the truth. Let's twist it and find the truth in it. Not timeline.
Okay, hold on, gentlemen. Let me put. Hold on.
Can I come back, Raheem?
Yeah, go ahead, Toussaint.
Since I didn't get an opportunity to, I don't mind. See, when the question that Mary asked was, I think the most influential era, and I think it was around the 60s because people had enough. Mm-hmm. When you have enough, it don't make no difference who's in charge, what they're trying to do, what's going on. When you got enough, whether you're willing to fight or go to jail or march or whatever it is, as a people, everybody did everything that it took to get us to another era in life, to the point where we didn't have to walk off of the sidewalks or get hosed down, whatever it is. They said, enough of this. I'm not sitting in the back of the bus. I'm not doing none of that. So now they killed them because they always say, well, if we can't, we see you in an uproar, what we're gonna do is we're gonna kill your leadership. So who was the ones that died in the process? They had to sacrifice their life. They had to become martyrs. So I'm just saying, when people have come to the point where in society or history, where you know that as a people, they said enough is enough. Mm-hmm. When was that?
Mm-hmm. Good deal. And I'm gonna go back to Mary because her question has been changed, and I threw something in there talking about the error and stuff like that, but other parts of her question has been changed. So I'm gonna go back to her and let her ask her question one more time. We got a few more minutes, then we're gonna get on out of here. Mary,
I like to go with Toy with a T.
of course you would. look,
Are
look,
you still
look.
with us?
Yes, she does. She ain't gonna leave you. She ain't gonna leave you. She
Hey,
right. She
in
right.
the background, you know, I'm patient.
Look at.
I already know how my guys do. We
Mhm.
go through this every day, and that's the problem with Black folks. Right here on this panel is the problem with Black folks. We cannot get together, sit down, and stay on one topic and respect each other's time and opinion to save our life. And we know how this go, and then we want to go back and forth. That is rude. That is rude, and we keep doing it. Yo, I've been on here like 3 or 4 years holding this back. It is rude, and we keep doing the same thing. And that's the problem with Black people. That's the problem with humans. That's the problem with white folks. That's the problem with Indians. That's the problem with Spanish people. I mean, stop. This very thing right here is exactly why we can't get together in Congress. Same humans, different people, different skin. But the spirit of who we are is displayed right here on this show. So how are we going to elevate and get something done when we can't even have a simple conversation and yield respect to this man who allows us to come on here? Why? Why? That is aggravating and irritating. Why do we keep doing it, men? I'm leading you. I'm following you. And every single time I get left out in the rain, every time I try to give respect and give homage, you get rolled over and stepped on. Get it together, y'all.
Yeah.
So my question is, and I didn't want to cut her off. She was
passionate.
Yeah.
She telling the truth.
It was true.
Ain't no wrong with what she said. She said the truth.
That's why we ain't so.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
My question who is the most influential person as far as promoting change for our people?
Right. And I'm with more than one. There's so many people, man. There's so many. Even y'all right now, us right now, are promoting change to people that hear us and helping us get through different thoughts. So I think there's a collective, Mary. And some of them are put on Front Street more than others, you know, because this is a marketing thing from some people with dealing with the government. Some you got to push more than others. But there are people in the background too. There are mothers and fathers of people that fell into line with change. There are people who got looked over and they went to Rosa because they forgot about the young lady before her. You understand what I'm saying? There's forgotten people that didn't even get to the page that we don't even know about because it's just the art of how we do this thing in this world. And a lot of people are left out. So I cannot and will not ever fix my lips to say that one sole person other than Jesus Christ and God. I will never say that just one person has contributed to the movement of our forward progression.
Good deal. Good deal. Let's go to
Can I say
Cassandra.
something, man?
Yes, give me 1 second. I'll come right back to you. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Cassandra. Come on.
I'm just listening right now.
Okay. Badger.
You know, back then, there was too many to count. Today, we got to deal with Will Smith. We got to deal with R. Kelly. We got to deal with a whole lot of people that are more interested in earning money than helping the people. So as far as, you know, there are people here today that are working hard to fight for us, fight for all of us, but they don't get the publicity because too many people want to be like these rappers, these movie stars, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the kindest actors that a lot of people talk about is Keanu Reeves, but he hardly gets any time. But what gets broadcasted the most is who's earning money, Pimp My Ride, and all that other nonsense. So it's hard to.
You got them 22s, Badger?
I ain't wasting my money on some nonsense.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna worry. I ain't hitting a hole in the road and having to replace an entire $300 rim for no reason. It's wild to me for the question that Mary asked, because I know a lot of the influential people, even in the county I live in. Yet most people, especially younger generations, don't really want to hear about them because they'd rather hear about the rappers and people that are making money, because it's so hard to survive nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer that question in the most honest way, money is the biggest influencer of us all.
Greed. Rico?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier about greed. And now that the question has been cleared up, you know, I can go and answer the question in another way, because the first time I thought she said who was like pretty much the face when you think about the black movement or the black experience, you know. But now that when you say the most influential, I'm with Toya. There are too many unsung heroes. Too many unsung heroes. There are too many that died and their death caused the movement. You know, a lot of people forget about Medgar Evers. You know, so there are so many people. You know, I was in Birmingham. I went to the home of the civil rights movement yesterday. That's why I decided to celebrate Juneteenth. I went to Birmingham, to Kelly Ingram Park, where the dogs did all the biting. And I saw some names out there that, you know, most people wouldn't know of. Matter of fact, I guarantee you nobody on this panel will probably know these names of the Woods brothers, A.G. Gaston. You know, you may know of A.G. Gaston. But so many different people that were
Ibrahim, let me finish, Ibrahim.
So many people that were, you know, instrumental in their part that they played in the movement altogether. You go back all the way back to Marcus Garvey. But Toya said something key. Like, first off, I wouldn't want to give any one person all that credit because of the fact that so many people died fighting the fight, and nobody speaks of them right now. I mean, you know, like I said, there are people here that died in the movement. No, none of y'all will know about these people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of their own families don't even know. But you know, also too, the way we say we are actually trying to come to a certain place, you know, it's really hard to see if we're trying to do that because of the fact you have so many that are willing to come back and try to discredit or spin what the next person is saying. And it's common. It seems like that is a tradition because we could mention Frederick Douglass and W.E.B. Du Bois and not even realize that they were at odds.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it was W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington.
Yeah.
They were at odds with each other.
Booker T. Washington and also Marcus Garvey.
Right. So, I mean, you know, you had so many people that really had legitimate platforms and they had legitimate, you know, they all said something that was just true. But at the same time, when they disagreed, that sort of kept us divided.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it really shows in how we act on this show. And it actually has been shown in the past. A lot of these people that we hold on the pedestal, we don't even realize that they were at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let me go to who you say? My daughter said go to Goddess. Goddess, you there? Goddess? Goddess said she said she was just listening.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, Goddess she said she was just listening. I just went to Goddess. Then I just
you went to Cassandra. That was Cassandra.
I was just listening, but that was far back ago. But yeah, what was?
Huh?
I was listening about. Are you still want us to answer her question?
Yeah, my daughter's question. About tell the question, Mary.
Who, in your opinion, is the most influential person to promote change for our people?
Matter of fact, right now, in my militant point of view and mindset, I attribute it to everybody. Even the man who did all that shooting. Thank you. Even the man who did all that shooting. The black man, the army man, and did all that shooting. So I don't believe in murder, but sometimes we just violence, you know, what they come out with, and then he just walking up killing all our folks. you know, the grocery stores, and another man just kind of did this down south, the same thing. Sometimes we got to retaliate back. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can bring it, we can bring it too.
Well,
That
Lord.
ain't part of our nature, though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just, we're loving and kind and forgiving people. That's
Forgiving,
not our
absolutely,
nature.
absolutely.
But our young folks ain't no joke.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to know how to direct it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I say it all the time, man. They'll run through a brick wall, but you got to channel that energy at one target and make sure y'all handle that target before you go to the next target. Otherwise, you're gonna be just shooting. You're gonna be just shooting and fighting, and
Right,
there's no
right.
purpose behind it. You have to be a purpose. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Just listening, like I usually do, I listen intently to people's conversations, whether or not I'm involved or not, just to hear what
Mhm.
they're about and their point of view. I know where
Mhm.
I'm at. I'm not at struggle with this at all.
Mm-hmm.
So all I do is compare and contrast information. That's it. I don't get too personal about it or insist on I have to be right. But what you will do is give me the common courtesy of going to check and see if I'm right before you say I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have never even with your show or anything like that, been in the mood to go back and forth with people about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, I believe in the genuine story. And your story is different from my story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you tell your story and I'll tell my story.
And hopefully
That's how I am, and I read the stories that have been written and documented and researched.
Mm-hmm.
My nephew, for instance, is working on his PhD in world history. Like I say, once you defend against them and you win, then you'll defend against me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about being intellectual. It's not about being necessarily right or heard. You must be intellectual and understand you have to compare and contrast information. It ain't just what you said or what you think. There's sometimes people say, ain't nobody doing this, ain't nobody doing that. And I can go and look at everything that they've done. Here, read this. Now you know. Don't be so satisfied thinking that you know everything. And that just because you experienced something, everybody experienced it. Because it's not true. It does not have to be the same way for everybody. Everybody ain't got to be the same, eat the same, do this, do. It's not like that in my world. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. And we come together to fight for a common cause.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear people talk about what somebody ain't doing, sometimes I don't comment because I know people doing that.
Exactly. We go to get out of here, man. Mia, when we call on some more people, Mia want to stay here longer, but she having a good time. We ready to go, Mia. Rico, what's going on at 3
I'll
o'clock?
give her another like 2 hours later today.
See, Mia, she knows she's leaving, going back tomorrow, so she want to get as much as she can today. I'm trying to get her to do another show this evening before she leave, but I don't know if it's gonna work or not. Oh, she keep telling me to do this. Now y'all know my daughter Mira. She pushed me in a certain way. I'm gonna put this up here. I'm gonna go full screen. This my book here, y'all. My second novel, Untrust. Sometimes it's better to stand alone. And she want me to angle it. Okay. Is that right there? Okay, good. Okay. If you all would like,
Covering up your name.
my name ain't important. I'm just a question asker. But this is my second novel right here. Mary wanted me to put it out there so y'all can see it.
Where can they get it?
They gonna give me everybody know my number. Give me a call, and I make sure
The people in other countries don't know your number.
Oh Lord, mercy. Lord.
Raheem,
Yes, ma'am.
so you know that this is something that you're supposed to do anyway as a part of the show. These are one of the tools. And Mary is just simply making and ensuring that you do the marketing and promoting that you need because you're overdue. These are books that you should have been promoting and you've been failing to do so. So do not get mad at her for catching you in places that, like you as a dad, you made sure she was on point.
Yeah. But see, my thing is, I don't do this. I do. There's. It's not for that. I don't do this to try
That's
to.
not the point. How we gonna know about it if we don't put it out there, bro?
Steve Harvey promote his stuff. on
Everybody
Rico,
does that.
Rico, you ain't helping, man. You shake your head. No,
Look,
man.
look,
Just tell the
Raheem.
truth.
Either
Yeah.
you gonna play for real or you gonna go sit your tail down. It's a hobby to you. Because if it's a hobby, keep playing. But she's only implementing the things. You wrote the book for what? For it to sit there? No. So this is, come on and let's get, like I just told the other guys, get it together. This is what you're supposed to do to promote yourself and your show because it's needed.
Where can they get it?
That's right.
I just put it on the screen right there, Mary. Lord Jesus.
Thank you.
Put myself big, and then she telling me everything she want me to do. Lord Jesus. Okay. Support. It says support this broadcast. You can actually get the book. You can go to www.paypal.me/DKM, or you could go to Cash App DKM Radio. The books is $10. $10 for the book.
No, it's not.
How much is it? You don't change my price on it?
How much time went into this? This wasn't no $10 worth of
Yeah,
time.
the books are $10, y'all.
No, it's not. This your second book. You can get the first one for $10.
The books are $10, y'all.
If you want this book in its entire, if you want half the book, we'll break it for you for $10. But if you want the whole book,
Rico, see what I'm up against.
if you
man.
want the whole
You
book,
see this mess? You see this mess, man? Look at here.
now you're listening to his voice. Why don't you read his words? Amen. If you want the whole book, the first book is $10. You get a discount because you're family.
I didn't do this, y'all.
Now the second book. How much is the second book? You got
$10.
No.
Okay, look here. As of right now, the books are $10. Me and Miriam have our discussion.
You got a
off
one-day
air.
special.
Where's Miriam, Mike? I'm going to mute her mic. I'm going to mute her mic now. But listen, you can go to there you go. Here go Toya back. Lord Jesus.
Today you can get
Preach
both
it, Mary.
You can get both books for $20.
They're $10 a piece.
Tomorrow, you only can get the first one for $10, and the second one gonna be $30. Amen.
Ain't gonna be no $30
Believe in
for me.
yourself. There you go.
Okay.
That's a lot of.
Like I
that's a lot of
said,
pages.
it's a lot of pages. A lot of pages in the book, but still, you can go to. Let me put it back on the screen just in case. Lord Jesus, I'm gonna get you, girl. They can go to www.paypal.me/DKM. That's on PayPal, or they could go to Cash App $DKM. Yeah, somebody just said something. What they say. 10 or 15. Yeah, 10 or 15. That's good. We'll stay right there. We'll keep it right there. Okay, now we're going to get out of here. Rico, get me out of here, man. What's going on at 3:00 today?
Man, look, if you ashamed of asking for money for that book or selling that book, man, at least promote it and give it away. You still didn't let nobody know you even had it. We ain't gonna know you got it if you don't let us know you know what I'm saying? You gotta promote it somehow. But if you missed today's broadcast and would like to see or hear it in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
But see, my thing is I push other people's product. God got me, man. He gonna take care of me. You know what I mean? That's I appreciate it, but God got me. But I'm not telling y'all not to buy my book now. Buy my book. Tucson. There you go. Tucson, pray us out, bro.
Where Willa at? Willa, you're absent.
Yeah, Willa absent. Will is on. Will is actually she's bringing the word. She's on assignment right now.
Yeah. Me too.
You on assignment too? Pray us out, man.
Always. Okay. God, Father, we come and we say thank you, God. Help us to accept chastisement for our better. And that includes my brother. Thank you for the love that you shared with us. God, you came that we might have life and life more abundantly. And you give us the wisdom and the knowledge to do your will for the edification of the body. So help us, God. Just be a part of you receiving glory out of our lives. We cannot do this thing without you. So send us and give us your spirit so that we would be pleasing in your sight. Bless us, God, as we go through this day. Keep us in your care. We pray it all in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Go ahead, man. You got your mic like you got something to say. What you got to say?
You gotta put out the price on
$10. Today the books are $10. Tomorrow they'll be the second edition will be $15 tomorrow.
Raheem.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Time and effort is valuable.
Mhm.
Don't make the same mistake I made. I got a book. It's been out there since 2016. I ain't studying that book. You know what
Mhm.
it's doing? Collecting dust.
Mhm.
It's a good read. Got some others. You know what? They good reads too. But if I don't say nothing about it, nobody knows anything about it. I didn't even know you had a second book, sir. Doctor.
I don't. You know.
Love
I
you, brother.
love you
man.
too. Okay. Miriam, not even to say it, but you know, but man, listen. I'm going to get out of here. Let me see anybody who on the phone line. Cassandra, help me, Cassandra. Well, you just sitting by, ain't saying nothing, Cassandra. See, now she's gonna get quiet on me. All this time, now she's gonna get quiet on me. Lord Jesus.
Toya
Ibrahim.
got you. Toya got you right, man. And to be
I'm
honest with
asking what the book is about. I mean, I understand the money back and forth, but the money has nothing to do with the substance. You know, what is the book about? And, you know, entertain me with that idea. You know, that's all I wanted to know.
This it's fiction. It's a fiction book. It's called Untrust. Sometimes it's better to stand alone. It's a a gangster love story.
Okay.
It's a gangster love story, and I say that because
The moral of the story.
this young lady named Mira said you got to read it. Mira said you
Well, I
got.
want to know the moral of stuff. I mean, what is the essence of it? I mean,
Oh, the whole no, Mary. The whole message of the story is overcome. She goes through a lot of different situations. She's actually playing tug of war with love. The young lady, the main character in the book, name is Margot, and she's actually going through a tug of war with love. It's something that a lot of people do all the time, but you know it gets a little. It's very dramatic. She goes through some real life issues in this story. She's stuck between the good guy and the thug. She's called between the good guy and the thug. She's actually and I would say this. She's actually the story star. She's with the good guy, but he have his issues. But she's still in love with the thug, which is the father of her kids.
So it's a fiction novel, but it's a lot of people relate to
like
it.
some of the children we got growing up.
That's what I'm saying. That's modern day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that read it love it, man. I've gotten great reviews on it, but like I said, there are 10 today. You can go to one of those platforms, send the money there with the address, and I'll send the book straight to you. If you live in this area, I hand deliver it to you. And I even she writing something on what she writing, but I even sign it for not that it's worth anything. I'm just a question asker. What is this? Okay, good deal. But that's what it is. That's what it is, man. So if y'all find it in your heart, y'all want to get a copy of it, read it, and let me know.
Hey, Toya gave you a good piece of advice, man, and that's I think everybody could take that, man. If you're gonna do it, decide whether or not if it's a hobby, or if you're gonna be serious about it. If you're gonna actually take the time, like Donald said, your time is valuable. So if you're gonna take the time to put that type of effort into it, at least try to make it. I don't want to just say profitable, but at least make sure it's known that people know about it.
Exactly. Good deal. Well, it is 10:14, and we're going to get out of here today, man. It's been a Mary, you want to say anything? You ain't gonna be here tomorrow. Want to say anything?
Believe in yourself and love on yourself like you love on everybody else.
And look at this mess. I knew I shouldn't have let her get them back.
Fella gonna do that show this evening, man. Gonna do one before she leave.
One thing. One thing, right?
Yes, sir.
History is like a timeline. It's like follow the money. If you can follow where history originates from and who's telling the story, right? Identifying the author. I think that what I hear a lot of, I don't know everything, but I know what I know, right? And I know what I was involved in, and I understood what I was involved in when I was involved in it. But the history that we get is acceptable history. I heard a lot of stories that about people saying, and I'm a historian. I do history. I get $50 an hour when I go out. I give y'all like a flash version, right, of my understanding of things as it is now and comparativeness, right? But the history I hear a lot of people say are convoluted. They have nothing to do with what actually happened or the people who did it. It's people's opinions. But there are millions of stories, and if you put them together in a nutshell and follow it from one point to the next, right? Then you have truth. Just like we have, people still talking about 1619. There's arguments and something that is not true. What happened?
Ibrahim, we gotta go, man. You gonna wait until 10:16, and then you gonna give us this long. Ibrahim, we gotta go, man. Ibrahim, save it for tomorrow. Save it for tomorrow. Ibrahim, save it for tomorrow, man.
The day after that, and the day after that.
We say some of each one of them days, but right now, this day we gotta go. On this day, Ibrahim, we gotta go. Ibrahim, you still talking, Ibrahim? Ibrahim. Oh Lord, come see me, Ibrahim. Come see me, man. But right now we got to go. You come see me, man. But right now we got to go. Well, Lakem Assalam, brother. We got to go, man. Look here, you still talking. Rico, what's wrong with him? Rico, what's wrong with him? That's my big brother there, man. You can't disrespect this. The elders, man. You can't disrespect them. That's why I say with all due respect, Ibrahim, we got to go, brother.
Hey, Ibrahim, all right, man. All right.
Yeah, you good dude, man. You good dude. But listen, I want to thank everybody. It's 10:17. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK, your media group, and associates, and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:17. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light in you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. And please, please, please be blessed. Take care of each other. See you tomorrow. God say the same.